And then let me go live on IG. Give me 1 second. Come on, IG. There we go. Okay. All right. What's up, everybody? All right. Welcome to another session of the Wednesday Hot Topic Show live out of San Francisco on this beautiful Wednesday night. As you guys can see, we have a full panel tonight. We'll be having some guests joining us a little bit soon, but we're going to have a different topic for tonight. We're going to talk about the political debate, Trump versus Biden. Since we're having the presidential debate tomorrow on Thursday, I was like, let's have be a good conversation to have to invite some people come on and have a discussion between the political debate between Trump versus Biden. So, as always, if you're tuning into the live show, if you see value in the content, smash the like and subscribe button. That's the best way to support me. Don't forget, this is a virtual show, so a lot of you guys always reach out. How do I join the show? You're not from the Bay Area, you're not from California. The best way to join the show virtually is on my Wednesday, my Thursday show. So the link is in the description below. On YouTube, come over to YouTube, be able to click on that link and jump on. We have some room on the panel, especially if you're into politics, especially if you like to have these type of conversations, and especially if you're interested with the election coming up between Trump versus Biden. This will be a great conversation for you. So the link is in the description on YouTube. Click on that link and you'll be able to jump on and be part of the panel. And of course, if you have any questions or topics you want to respond for us to respond to, drop it through a super chat. If you want to donate to the channel, drop it through a super chat and we'll be able to respond to any questions or topics you guys have. And of course, everybody that donates to the channel, thank you so much for all the support. And just a quick shout out to my sponsor, Global Financial Impact. If you're looking for financial services to set up college fund for your kids, life insurance, and understand and learn about financial literacy so you can plan your financial future, definitely reach out to Savannah and her team, Global Financial Impact, and they'll be able to help you guys out. All their information is on the link. It's in the description below on YouTube. So, but let's get that live chat popping. I see VNFTW with the emoji with the American flag. I didn't even know you had that emoji. Got the American flag salute. Definitely appreciate Vin. Good to see you on the live chat. But let's get that live chat popping. Let me know what you guys think. And let me know what you guys think about politics. If you're interested in what you guys think about the Trump and Biden presidential debate tomorrow. I would love to hear what you guys have to think, but I'll pass it back to the panel. Ladies, fellas, thank you so much for making the time to be part of tonight's discussion. I'll pass it to you guys real quick, and if you guys go ahead and give yourselves a quick intro for everybody out there. I'll start with you, Vaimwana. Vaimwana, good to see you. Good to have you back on the pod. And if you go ahead and give yourself a quick intro for everyone out there.
Thank you so much for having me, Will. I am so honored and just so excited, actually, to be here with you. So great to see you and meet all of the other guests. Assalamu alaikum, alolole. My name is Vaimwana Nimekdolu Ofi Khalil, and I am coming to all y'all from Goshu Payu, Dene land, indigenous land, known as Utah. Okay, there's one. Utah is the third state in the United States that has the most Tongans. So how cool is that? And yes, my Tongan family immigrated here in the 80s, and there is a large Tongan population. So, and that also means this is Trump country. So I can't wait to, be in this conversation and discuss, because your girl is not for Trump. Okay, I will pass to another person. Thank you.
All right, no worries. Thank you so much. Vaimwana, if you don't mind, where do you stand politically as far as your stance?
Yes, I wanted to be a part of this discussion because I wanted to give voice to those who are not voting for Trump or for Biden. And I do see that being a liberal, being a conservative, they really are underneath the same system, and especially the genocide that is not only happening in Palestine, but also in DR Congo and Kenya, the uprisings, in Sudan, in Kanaki, also in West Papua, right? It is all connected. I would like to talk more about that, but I will not be voting. I did not vote for Biden. Yes, I did not vote for him. And my actions, the right for me to be an American citizen, because I am an immigrant to the United States, I have given up that right. And I do know the history of women, of Black people, of brown people, indigenous people, fighting for the right to vote. But I gave up my right to vote because I do not support I do not support leadership that goes into the colonization and the Zionism of indigenous people. So I will just keep it right there. I hope I'm very clear to people on that. And thank you so much. I'll pass.
All right, no worries. Thank you so much, Faimwana. Good to have you on the pod. I'll pass it to you, Manic. Manic, good to have you on the pod for tonight's political debate. But go ahead and give yourself a quick intro.
Thanks for having me, Will. Appreciate you, Faimwana. Swami Wami wanted none of that smoke. She was just like, just go ahead and click off out of here.
No, there's a connection issue. She'll be back.
I'm the Manic Genius. Been on this channel plenty times. I don't really. How do I put this? I definitely have very liberal views, but I also have very conservative views. So I guess you could say I'm a moderate. It just really depends on the issue. But for the most part, I think no party is perfect. I understand that the leader heads are essentially just the face of the brand, and that the policies that are passed, good, bad, or indifferent, are, based on, who's in control. That's the House and the Senate. So I'm excited about this conversation to learn and, shed some of my insight on the overall structure and the different policies.
Okay. Do you have a stance politically, Manic?
Yeah, I'm a liberal. I'm a liberally conservative.
What does that mean?
Basically, he's a new Democrat. That I know exactly what he's saying. I know exactly what he's saying because I'm in the same boat.
Please explain to me because I don't even know how.
I'm gonna tell you what you are. You what's called a new Democrat or a Clinton Democrat. That's where you are socially and culturally liberal but fiscally conservative.
Oh, I like that. What he said.
Yeah. Clinton. Just say you're Clinton Democrat, and everybody don't know what you're talking about. They're talking about.
No, okay. I do like the Clintons. So
yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Manic. Rose, good to see you. Good to have you back on the pod. It's been a while. Appreciate you. But go ahead, Rose, if you don't mind, give yourself a quick intro, and then what do you stand politically?
Hey, I'm Rose. You can call me Rose or Swami Wami. Swami Wami is my artist name. So, hi, Faimwana. It's been a while, but anyways, I'm glad to be back and talk about politics. I actually been out of politics for a while because it still was the same stuff over and over. And I used to be, well, I wouldn't say used to be, but I was more on the conservative side. But ever since, I would just say that I'm a liberated conservative independent. So there's no, I'm always for the people, less government for the people, and I don't believe in wars. And every party always stands for war because war equals money to that party, and every party is for it. So I'm against that because before I was more towards the conservative, but my economic views are definitely more conservative as far as for the economy. But yeah, liberated in the sense that I'm a free person, conservative in my views as far as like how everything should be economically, but independent in that I don't go with any one party because not every one party, because every party is corrupt. It's all about the money at the end of the day, and everyone is sleeping together in bed. So yeah, that's my view.
Hey, I like that.
All right. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Rose. Good to have you back. Ready? I know tonight's going to be a great conversation, discussion tonight. I'll pass it to you, Damien. Damien, good to have you on the pod for tonight, but go ahead and give yourself a quick intro.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Damien, been on the show before. Hey, 49, married, father of 3. Yeah, like I was telling Manic, I'm the same way. I'm a Clinton Democrat. I'm a new Democrat where I'm culturally and in socially liberal, but very fiscally conservative. I mean, so I don't believe in just handouts and everybody not working for the stuff that they get. You know, I'm a bit strong. I grew up with the what you kill, you eat kind of situation, but I do understand there are certain situations where you may need a little bit of assistance for a temporary amount of time. So yeah, more Bill Clinton, less Bernie Sanders is my view. So yeah, that's what I believe. I'm a Democrat.
Okay. All right. Damien, always good to have you on the pod. And then last but not least, Jerk, go ahead and give yourself a quick intro, Jerk.
All right. I'm the sophisticated Jerk, 44, married for about 22 years now. And I'm going to say the things that most people won't say in any political thing when people ask them these questions. I'm selfish. So a lot of my stances boil around me winning. So like my like stances kind of like bounce around because a lot of like the stuff in the bedroom and, you know, people's households, I really don't care too much about that stuff. And I think a lot of times when we have a lot of political debates, you know, we really never get to the topics that I think that matters because, you know, I think there's like distraction topics versus like the stuff that actually has impact. And I like kind of what Manic said. It's just like a president's agenda could only go but so far, you know, based on the House, the Senate. So a lot of times I think we have like more of like opinionated, I guess, debates versus like the actual like things that have impact. So I'm an independent. That way I could bash both sides because like I said, I'm kind of all out of the place, just depending on what the subject actually is. So that's kind of how I vote. I look at the things that could actually pass the House and that will actually have the impact. And that's kind of where I base my decision on. So I do like what Dame said, where it's just like, you got the Clinton Democrats and what they call them, the Reagan Republicans, which is like pretty much moderate. So depending on the person that's like falls in that moderate realm, that's where I typically vote.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dirk. And then good to have you on Prime. Good to have you jump on. Good to have you on the panel. If you don't mind, give yourself a quick intro, Prime. And then where do you stand politically, Prime?
I stand as a devil's advocate. I'm just kidding. I would say I align a lot with Republicans, but I would have to say, due to my experience, I do believe that there is some sort of need for law, and so I would consider myself along the lines is not as deep as the like how sophisticated Jerk was saying it. You have the Clinton demographics and the Reagan Republicans. I would say I'm more closer to the middle. I would say man, this is a hard put. If I was going to say that I belong to a certain party, I would say I'm more of a progressive Democrat. I mean, due to my background, you know, a lot of people know that I'm a serial entrepreneur. So yeah, I would have to say that I do still believe that there is a need for law and law implementation and governing implementation. And there is a need for, you know, sometimes for the government to get involved in certain things. And so I would say that I would fall in line with what Democrats strongly believe in, but I'm not as liberal as Democrats would be. And so I would say to that extent, I'm more conservative. And so, yeah, I would go along the lines to stay on the safe side of saying that I'm a progressive Democrat, just like the Kennedy family.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Prime. Thank you for the great introductions. Shout out to the panel. Thank you so much. I see D Degenerate on the live chat, the real podcast. Hey, what's up, Conrad on the live chat? I appreciate you guys watching. Let's get that live chat popping. Let me know what you guys think about the discussion for tonight, and let me know what your political affiliations and the beliefs are on the live chat, and what do you guys think about the current state of politics and the presidential debate tomorrow between Trump and Biden. I would like to hear your thoughts and what do you guys think. And then, of course, don't forget, this is a virtual podcast. If you want to jump on the panel, the link is in the description. So if you're watching this for the first time, you want to jump on, you guys already know my content. I have an open mind. I like to hear from different perspectives, as long as we can have a respectable conversation and dialogue. Click on that link on YouTube, and you'll be able to jump on and be part of the panel. But we'll go right into it. So the topic we'll be discussing, the political debate, Trump versus Biden. I just want to have a simple discussion because I know we're limited of time, but I just want to have a discussion on like who's the best candidate to that's best for America and that's going to solve a lot of the problems that we face politically, socially, economically in America. So I just want to make sure we're all, on the panel when we have the discussion between Trump and Biden. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to vote for that person, but if we have to be realistic on the panel, the two leading candidates right now is Trump and Biden, right? That's more than likely going to be one of either Trump or Biden is going to be the next president for the next 4 years. Can we all agree on that on the panel, or do you guys disagree?
No, fact.
I agree.
Right, like Trump is the leading candidate for Republicans, by a landslide, and of course, it looks like from the Democrat side that their leading candidate is right now is Biden, unless we hear some news for the next couple of weeks leading up to the election. All right, so that's going to be either the leading candidate for the next 4 years. I just want to have a discussion with you guys as far as who do you think is the best candidate for America to lead us. There's a lot of issues that we can definitely discuss. One of the most important prevalent issues I do see online people talk about is immigration, economy, inflation, the foreign policy, especially the America's support with Israel and the Palestinian war in Ukraine. Those are usually the things I see that a lot of people talk about, especially why they're going to vote for Trump, why they're going to vote for Biden. And of course, a lot of issues that we can discuss today. If you guys want to add on any other issues that we're going to talk about politically, that's I want to pass it back to you guys. Who do you think is the best candidate for us, for America, for the things that you believe you want to get solved politically, socially, the things that's important to you? As a lot of you guys, we all live in America, and then we can start with that, and then we can move on from there as far as the discussion. So. I do see Celia, 7N on the live chat. Hey, good to see you. I see Trump 2024 from 7N. Hey, good to see you, 7N. Never seen you here before, but I see that you're a Trump supporter. So thank you so much. I would like to hear what you guys have to say in the live chat, but I'll pass it back to the panel. What do you guys think? The OnlyFans link, that's hilarious. Okay, but but I'll pass it back to you guys. We all live in America. We all care about the future where we for the next 4 years. We clearly see a lot of political issues, socially, economically, that's currently happening in America. So, in your belief system, what do you think? What's the best candidate for America for the next 4 years to lead this country? I'll start with the ladies. I'll start with you, Vaimwana. Vaimwana, what do you think about? Who do you think is the best candidate right now for the next 4 years, Trump or Biden, or do you think there's a different person that there's a sleeper candidate that a lot of people don't know and you want to bring to light? Go ahead, Vaimwana.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I will be really short. As I shared in my introduction, I will not be voting for either of them, and I don't think both of them are definitely a no from me. And yeah, there are other candidates, that are running for president. As we know, Cornel West, Joe Stein, Claudia, so I don't know if I will vote for any of those people that I mentioned, right? But I'm definitely a no to both. And that is as clear as I can be. So I pass it to another person.
Okay, no worries. I just have a quick question to you, Vaimwana. I know you say you won't vote for either one, right? But which one would you, if one of them, because we know either Trump or Biden looks like they're the leading candidates, but which one would you rather tolerate for the next 4 years? Because I know you don't support either one, but which one, if somebody is going to get elected this year, which one would you rather tolerate for the next 4 years, even though you don't support either one between Trump or Biden?
This is a great question. I think right now I would maybe tolerate isn't the word, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
But for myself, we're at a precipice, for lack of a better word, right? For something different, for something, and not just in the United States. And as we know, as American citizens, the United States is a huge power in the world, not just politically, socially, musically, artistic, creatively, right? We are a voice that is so visible and present in every single country and land in the world. We are. So in answering your question, I'm standing in a place, right? And I heard it all in all of what, in the language of what you all are saying, you know, whether you want yourself to win or whether you want your community to win, your people to win, you know, your God to win, you want some people to win. And I'm in that. I am in that context, right? So, and I'm also inside of, because I was gonna say, hey, Trump, let's just get Trump so people can be like, we're in some deep shit right now. Sorry to say, I'm sorry, I curse, right?
Are you good?
And I'm also saying, because I'm also living in Utah, I live with Mormons. You know, we are in some deep shit that maybe we do just need Trump back, you know, to be like, let's just you know, I'm being strategic too. You know, since we all know everything is a strategy, everything's like, okay, who's this gonna serve? Who is this gonna serve? Who is this gonna serve? Right? I'm like, okay, yeah. Right now, I'm just like, let's just have Trump be it. Because, and that's not out of resignation. That's out of, we got to do something. We got to, you know, and maybe it's like, Vaimwana, how can you say this? We are doing something. Well, hello, all these people are saying something. Yes, hey, you know, and yes, there are nuances, right? That Utah is Trump country, it is Mormon country, and people are standing for their families. They want their families to have good lives. You know, that's where I am in that space, y'all. I'm looking for the strategy for myself, my family, my communities, and also I'm also a teacher, right? I'm a teacher with the students that I work with, standing for them. What would be the best way for all of us? Yes, Trump comes with this like, no, like, you know, like all of this just horrible things. But same with Biden. What will have all of us? I'm looking for all of us really stepping into our own leadership as individuals that represent so many communities, because I believe leadership is in everyone, you know, and I'm not trying to be idealistic, or maybe I am, but yeah, that's where I'll stop right now. Thank you.
No worries. All right. Thank you so much, Vaimwana. I see, pass it to you, Rose. Rose, what do you think? And who's the best candidate for the next 4 years to lead America to solve a lot of the issues that we see politically in America? What do you think, Trump or Biden?
Okay, so the fact that it's Trump versus Biden is just that's an illusion. Biden, he has dementia. He needs to be checked into a senior care center and spoon-fed ice cream all day while he babbles nonsense. Trump, they're trying to indict him because they know he's going to win because he has the biggest vote. So that's why they're trying so hard to put him away, even though it's all BS that they have against him. Now, I feel like the best candidate that was running was Vivek Ramaswamy. He was brilliant. He just had everything. He was basically our generation, so we can all we all like understand and we get it, because our generation is the last of the smartest generation before all the idiots came out with tech. And that's the truth. You just have to look around and you see. So he was the best candidate, but he knew he wouldn't be able to beat Trump. So he fell out, because when Trump becomes president, he'll probably make him vice president. And if not, Vivek knows that he'll get his support in the next term to be president, because he's that brilliant and he got a lot of notoriety while he was campaigning. So what we have now is Trump, and then they're going to take Biden out and they're going to put someone else in at the last minute. It's probably going to be some other idiot. And the only way they're going to win is because they're cheating, just like they cheated on the last election with the mail-in votes, which is why all this shit happened with COVID. So that's how they win, is they cheat, because Democrats can't win because they're idiots. Conservative people are just smarter. We all know this. That's why they run the country. Everyone that's in business is conservative, because money can't just spend it like water. You got to be very, very careful how you spend it. So I don't vote because I know it's all rigged. And they want to make people think that your vote matters, which is bullshit, because everyone that voted didn't even matter for like so many of the stuff that happened. And then if you just look what's going on, it's just so much BS. And we all see it and we're just like, this is like a movie. This is like a dream. This can't literally be happening. It's all rigged. Everything's already pre-planned by the people that run the shit. And they're just making us look, they're basically just dividing us with all these parties. If we come together as a people and we realize that it's us against them, which is the people that own everything, the richest people that own everything at the top against everyone else, then they know that we'll be strong enough to stand against them. So they're going to do everything in their power to divide us with chaos, with just everything that's going on. So at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. We just got to stand together. And the only way to stand together is to spend our money where we spend our money wisely, because we don't vote with going to the ballot and checking a box off. We vote with how we spend our money. If we spend our money supporting big corporations, that's how you vote. If we're spending our money supporting small businesses, that's how you vote. It's really, how do you spend your money? So yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Rose. Let me pass it to Damien. Damien, you're the smartest Democrat I know. After listening to Rose, but go ahead, Damien. I'll pass it to you.
This is a hard. I'm gonna tell you something, Will. This is a hard topic to me debate, because I'm usually an easygoing guy, but this brings out something not so easygoing in me, because it's too serious to like joke around and whatchamacallit. This is a serious. This is probably the most consequential election that I'll probably be a part of. I thought it was the election of Barack Obama just because it was a referendum. It changed certain dynamics in the United States. But this is the most consequential election in the history of my history. I just feel like at this point, if you vote for Trump with everything that's going on, if you still feel comfortable voting for Trump, I feel like you're either willfully ignorant or morally corrupt, and because there's just too much information out there to let you know that he's done, that you can see. I mean, like, we have eyes, we can read, we can see, we can hear the things that coming out of his mouth or what have you. And I just feel like if you can find it in yourself to let that go and get past that and like kind of not even consider that as part of it, it's just, I just feel like I don't understand that. I'm a man who's grounded in logic and reason. I'm very pragmatic. I'm what's practical and what's best for the biggest, the most amount of people. And I just feel like anybody who's willing to at this juncture to vote for Donald Trump, I don't think you're paying enough attention. I think the blinders are on and you're just not paying enough attention to what's going on in the fucking world, because he is a danger to our democracy. I was like, he's done things that nobody in the history of this country has done. He's changed the expectation of what our democracy should look like. I mean, everybody else up into him, peaceful transfer of transition of power. Everybody else for him, if they respectfully voiced any kind of discontent with any results of any election. Nobody here whined and complained as much as that after an election. So I just feel like to see him as anything other than a danger to our country as a whole, it's astounding to me. And I'll try to be nice, but this is not a nice topic. And but I will be respectful. How about that?
Yeah, we ain't here to be nice, Damien. We're here to keep it real. All right, so thank you so much, Damien. Real quick, Amy, drop the super chat. Thank you so much, Amy. Damien Siggs. All right, thank you so much. Shout out to you, Amy. Appreciate you.
She's stealing Dame's message.
Good to see you, Amy. Appreciate your support. But I see you guys started to pop on the live chat. Phil, E-Rock, 7N. A lot of you guys started to tune in on tonight. Brave Bird 13. Never seen you here before in the live chat. I do appreciate you guys for tuning in. Definitely get that live chat pop in. Let me know what you guys think. If you're a moderator, everybody active, and call out the Ninja Watchers and tonight. So we'll keep it moving. I'll pass it to you, Jerk. Dirk, yeah, where do you stand at as far as Trump or Biden? Who's the best option that we got right now for America for the next 4 years?
So out of those two, I'm definitely going to go with Joe Biden. And I don't think it's like a far stretch between them, but I think Trump is just too distracted. And he showed that the last term. And then even now, it's just like, is he going to come back in trying to get payback and stuff? And so I just think, as a president, most of the time, probably like 80% of their objective is not going to get passed. So, I think people get worked up by certain things and stuff like that. And then one thing I did want to address is just like, you can't say like Biden's election was rigged, but the 4 years prior to that, it wasn't rigged. It's the same process that they use, the same machines, the same counters, so it's just like, we got to apply a little bit of logic to all this stuff. It's just like, hey, if they lose, they lose. I don't get that attached to a candidate where like they hang out at my house and I personally know them. So if you lose, like, oh, well, like on to the next 4 years.
Trump said the election he won was rigged because he didn't win. He didn't get enough votes.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's the same machines and stuff. So, it's just like, I feel you, Dave, but it's just like, people just don't understand. It's like, man, the process has always been the same. You can't rig 50 states and then you got to go down to the counties and to the little towns and stuff. Come on, man. Ain't nobody got enough manpower to do all that. So, that's where it's just like, we got to stop being kind of crybabies, and you just got to face the fact that your candidate lost. They probably needed to do some certain things better. They probably, even like Hillary, when she lost, hey, she wasn't going out to certain states, shaking hands, kissing babies and stuff like that. So I just wanted to kind of address that. But yeah, I think you just got to be focused when you're president. And then, I kind of look at who has a more realistic policy, like I said before. So one of the things, like I said, I did vote for Joe Biden. I don't think there's like a major difference between them, but Joe Biden was the only one that was kind of addressing like infrastructure. So when, Donald Trump was in office, he didn't really address it in the 4 years. And I think, with our aging infrastructure, we got bridges collapsing. Joe Biden brought it up. And that was just pretty much the one topic that I saw that would be bipartisan, that they could actually get passed. And that's actually what they end up doing. So that's where I kind of just focused in on. All the other stuff, like I said, are distraction topics. So that's why I voted for Joe Biden. But I just think coming into it next 4 years, I'm not too sure if like Trump is going to want to, get payback or be distracted with all these like court cases and stuff, because I don't know how all that's going to play out. So that's it, Will.
All right. Thank you so much, Dirk. And then I'll pass it to you, Prime. And then after Prime, then we can pass it back to the panel and we can respond. I see there's a lot of things that you guys disagree on. So that'll be an opportunity for you guys to respond to each other. All right, so I'll pass it to you, Prime. Prime, what do you think is the best option for America for the next 4 years, Trump or Biden?
So what I think is the best for America, because I can't vote. I'm a convict, so I can't vote. So my vote doesn't count anyways.
Like Trump.
The old convict excuse.
Like Trump.
How convenient.
How convenient.
Hey, never mind. Not gonna go there right now. I would say what's best for America is, when you look at it, because I take more of a progressive stance, Trump is the better option as far as progression goes. If you want more inclination to infrastructure, a Democratic vote is always going to be better. But if you want more structure to the government itself, a Republican vote is always going to be better. So this is the reason why I bring this up, is because if you actually look at the Electoral College and you see the way that they have the boundary lines set, in reality, most of the United States is technically red. Most of the United States and about 17 cities is the reason why most of the US is blue. Okay. So when you actually break down the Electoral College, most of it is red, but due to population and due to population density, the 17 cities, the strongest city suits, which are typically liberal, are the ones who dictate who the next president is. So if you can sway the public, whether it's progression for the United States or progression for infrastructure within the United States, it'll go either way. So as far as if I was to vote, I would technically vote Trump. If I had a vote that actually mattered, I would vote somebody like Tosi or Vivek. The reason why is Tosi used to be a Democrat. She flipped script and she became a Republican. The reason why I believe in Tulsi is because she's the reason why a lot of the corruption in Hawaii was fished out. It was because of her. And so to see that once again on our governmental scale, like I come from a state that has known corruption, where people have been put in prison, elected officials. I've seen it firsthand. And to now see it on the level of the White House is crazy. And so if I'm going to have to pick between the two, Trump has already proved that the current status quo of hierarchy that we have is not reliable. Now, regardless of who Trump is and who Joe Biden is, you know, I'm not going to attack their characters because it is what it is. And that's it. Every president that we've had ever since I was born has a character type. I mean, I grew up during the Bush age, and we all know that a lot of Bush's decisions was based off of oil money. We all know that. It's no secret. Okay, we all know that a lot of the push that Barack Obama had was governmental reform, so that way we could save face in front of our allies. That's what Barack Obama was doing. Okay, we all know that Trump, he was trying to save face on the fact that he was a celebrity beforehand and nobody thought he could do the job. But he was able to prove that he was at least able to show that, hey, the hierarchy system that we have isn't working the way that it's supposed to work. And if I'm going to fork out money to do it myself, I will. And he did that. Okay. As far as Joe Biden is concerned, he is saving face in front of our allies. He's doing exactly what Obama did. He's picking up where Obama left off. And so if I'm going to say what's best for America, I think growing the infrastructure within America and best supporting the citizens, Trump has a better argument as far as that goes. Okay. As far as Joe Biden is concerned, I think he's just too old. He's been in the game for way too long. I think he bowed out like 2 years ago. And I think somebody else is running the office right now, whether it be Kamala, whether it be Barack Obama, whether it be whoever. I don't see him surviving another like year. And that's me pushing it as far as decisions go. I don't think I would trust somebody at that age with the way that he's acting with.
How old is Donald Trump?
Hold on. We gotta. I know you want to do everybody, but you gotta let people respond because this is so good.
Finish part, and we'll go right into.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just finish real quick.
No, I'm just saying that I don't think I would want somebody at that age having the power and access to nuclear weapons. I worked in the private sector. I know how these guys make decisions, and to see, you know, the presidential candidate acting the way that they're acting, like not knowing left from right and not really paying attention. It's like a lot of people will say that, you know, Trump is distracted. At least he's distracted. It's not paying attention is totally different than being distracted. I'd rather have a distracted I'd rather have a distracted president than to have a president that can't really figure out where his left foot is from his right hand. Like, I don't know. Like that's just. Yeah,
okay.
That's where I'm at with it.
Distracted versus destructive.
You gotta let me respond to this.
Yeah. I'll pass. Let me just give shout out to the live chat real quick, and I'll pass it to you guys. So, Zyrex, good to see you. Thank you so much, everybody on the live chat. And don't forget, if you're watching this for the first time, this is a virtual show, so it's public. It's a public stream. If you do want to jump on, I like to hear from different perspectives. Click on that link on YouTube, and you'll be able to jump on. I would like to hear from more people on our discussion tonight. But I'll pass it right back to you guys. I know you guys want to respond to each other. You guys can take it away. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. I want to read something. I just want to read something real quick. Okay. You heard my story about the boat with the shark, right? I got killed on that. They thought I was rambling. I am not rambling. I said, well, what would happen is that the boat was heavy and started to sink. You're on the top of the boat. Do you get electrocuted? No. Let's just say there's a shark 10 yards away. Would I have immediately abandoned? Or could I have rode the electric down. I don't care what happens. I'm saying with the electric, it's not the snot. It's not. It's like the snake. It's as smart like you. You figure you're leaving, right? You're bringing it in. You know the snake, right? The snake is the snake. That is a direct quote from Donald Trump on June 22nd at the Turning Point thing on stage. So you want people who sit there and like, oh, Joe Biden is dementia, whatever. Do you know what the difference between dementia and making a mistake is? He catches himself and he corrects himself. Donald Trump just rides with it. He'll just be like, oh, you know, what you call it. And he does. There's no correction. There's no acknowledgement of the mistake. He'll just completely rumble incoherently about riding electric down and hoping there's not a shark in the water. I mean, so when you have these discussions about Biden being senile, they're 3 years apart. 3 years apart. And it's just a non sequitur because there's no way you can look at a Trump rally where even news media that is loyal to him cut away when he starts rambling to help him save face. So this whole like, oh, he's rambling and oh, he's this, that. I think that's total bullshit. And I think what it is people see what they want to see, or they don't pay enough attention to what Donald Trump is actually saying, the words that are coming out of his mouth, because they already have it in their mind that Joe Biden is, because they use these pictures of him kind of wandering off, trailing off or whatever like that. Fine. But when he gets down and he starts talking, the things he say make sense. He talks about policy. He doesn't talk about retribution. He doesn't talk about getting back at people. He doesn't talk about fucking riding electricity down to avoid sharks and snakes. So get off that bullshit about the senile shit, because we can see, if you listen, who's the senile person that's running for government president right now. That's all I got to say on that.
All right, who wants to respond to that?
What's the definition of senile?
That means not lucid and lacking cognitive understanding.
Hey, Rosie, you want to respond to that? Because I know you brought it up.
You said Trump is a danger to democracy. I'd like to know how he was a danger to democracy when he actually helped of all people, your people, more than any other president in history.
Okay, helping the danger to democracy. He enlisted his people to hold a coup against the peaceful transition of power. He sent people to the Capitol to get them to interrupt the proceedings to certify the votes. That was a direct directive from him. No other president has done that. And then when he had the ability to stop it, when he saw it was getting out of hand and people were getting police officers, peace officers, people who signed up to serve and protect, were getting beat with flagpoles and bear spray. And even one of his supporters, Ashley Babbitt, got shot. He did nothing to stop it. He sat there and watched, ate his bowl of Cheerios, and was like, damn, this is great. He didn't do anything to stop it when he had every bit of the power and the authority to say, whoa, slow down. That's not what we want. Come out of there. If they listened to him, they would have come out of that, out of the Capitol. But no, he just sat there and did nothing until 6 hours later, when people were really getting his ass talking about, oh, you need to say something. He was like, oh, I appreciate you guys. You guys are patriots, but we cool. You know, it was some tepid rebuke of them putting shit on the walls of the nation's capital.
That's not true. He told Nancy Pelosi to call in.
He didn't. Nancy Pelosi had no right. It had she had nothing to do with that shit.
Power to call in.
She's not.
Oh, and by the way, talking about senile, he said Nikki Haley 3-4 times in the speech. Nikki Haley was in charge of security on January 6th. Google it.
I don't know. January 6th was a setup, but it wasn't a setup by Trump. Golly, it was an FBI setup. Do you not know?
Oh, dang, we going down conspiracy rabbit holes.
Blind.
I mean,
there's evidence to show that.
There's actual evidence that shows that.
There's no evidence to show that. It would be on every news channel. It would be front page on Fox, Newsmax, One, ONE. It'd be on everything.
But, I know. But let's just give. I know Rosie want to respond. So I'll just give.
Sorry, Rosie.
Go ahead, Rose.
Let's talk about someone you guys don't know. I actually know him.
You know
through
who?
Friends
Trump?
that are close to him. So it's like all the stuff
Wait.
you guys talk about, it's not even relevant. It's like you guys
Wait,
just-
hold on. You know, Rose,
Yeah.
you know Trump personally?
friends are close friends with him. So I know him through
He
my
doesn't
friends.
have friends. He only has family.
My friends just spoke at he was down here at the Ahern. He had a dinner and they were the keynote speakers. So
Yeah.
I know of him. I know his family through people that I'm close with. So it's like everything you guys are saying is just all BS. Just
Because
look
you know him
around.
personally.
Go shopping. You'll see that the prices are doubled. Try to buy a house. Skyrocketed rates because of this Biden that you guys put in office. Freaking idiot. His party's an idiot. All they want to do is spend,
Yeah.
tax.
I mean, I didn't know the presidents had complete control over the economy.
I didn't know
Not
that
at
either.
all.
You see, like, there's just
But-
nothing to say. You just gotta look
Okay.
around.
Can we? Oh, go
Can I
ahead.
pick it?
No, go
can-
ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something real quick. So based on the age thing, I'm glad Dane pointed out. You know, they're both around the same age. So if you feel one of the candidates old, that pretty much washes both of them. And then also, like, they both stumble a lot. If you're being unbiased, they both not the greatest speakers. I think they're competent, both of them. You know, but you're gonna find reels of both of them like messing up constantly. So you know, that's just me being unbiased. If you look at that type of stuff.
Judging a billionaire. This is a billionaire that's running this country. He knows how to make money. We want to be in a
No. He knows to steal money.
doing well.
That's why he got convicted of 34 counts of fraud. He knows how to steal money.
Office, everyone was happy. We were doing better than any other time.
During the pandemic, when people
America.
when a million Americans died.
Let's go by one by one. Let's get to
Sorry. Like I said, I try to be nice.
No. We can have a dialogue back and forth. Let's just make sure everybody finish your point.
My bad.
She's really smart, and you guys. It's just,
So he's smart because he has a lot of money.
we're at because of people like you.
Yeah.
Because you guys literally don't see what's going on. Probably because you guys are just, I don't know. I don't get it because I'm not part of that scene. I'm somewhere else.
What's the scene?
I'm not in that where you guys believe what the news says. The news is all bullshit. Everything the news says is bullshit. You guys have to know. You guys have to be on the inside to know what's going on. I'm on the inside, so I know what's going on. How do you get on the inside? You gotta know people. Remember, your net worth is your network. So who's your guys' network? That's what I want to know. I know what my network is, and I'm telling you guys, what all you guys see is bullshit because I know what's going on because I'm in the network.
All right.
So what's your net worth? Hold
we-
on. I just got a question. What's your net worth?
I'm a millionaire. I'm not gonna say how much, but I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
Are you
I
guys?
do okay.
Are you
I
selling?
do
it?
okay.
I don't want
You do okay
to
over here.
get off topic.
No, I just want to know because I mean some people are
we're getting
millionaires.
off topic right now. Let's go back to Trump and Biden. I don't want to veer off topic, right? So
Yeah.
go back to the Trump and Biden
Well-
conversation. I do want to address the first thing that we were talking about. Because that's the thing that I see that's often debated online, and often that's one of the criticisms a lot of Republicans have towards Biden, that he can't physically do the job. I think everybody on here is objective. We can really be objective on this. For me, is like age is not an indicator of how healthy you are, right? You could be 24, but if you have a bad lifestyle, you can be in a worse shape than a guy that's 45 if he's taking care of his health. So we both do understand that both in Biden and Trump, they're both, I think they're almost 70. I think they're both almost 70.
Biden is
Biden
81 and Trump is 78.
Yeah, they're both almost 80, right? In their 80s, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why it's important for me that we have a strong leader, because we are our president is going to be a representation of us, especially when it comes to our face and dealing with other countries. We know there's other countries out there that are willing to take down the U.S. Russia, China. So for me, it looks like, from my perspective, like physically, it looks like that Trump is a lot more physically better than Biden. And not only physically, but also in his ability to negotiate. I think a lot of the things that I care about, especially when it comes to war, if he has to sit down with Putin, if he has to sit down with North Korea's, North Korea's president? What's Kim Jong-un?
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un. If you have to sit down with the president of China, these are like a hardcore, brutal type people personalities. So you got to have somebody in there that's gonna be able to sit down, not only physically have a conversation, but able to negotiate. But I mean, there's a lot of videos out there that show that Biden has to be guided, on stage, after the stage. I do understand that with the stumbling thing. I know you brought up a great point, Damien, that there are times where where Trump mumbles and during his speech, but I've never seen a video of Trump being guided to the plane, out the car, or to the stage, or out the stage. And there's a lot of videos out there that like Biden has to be physically guided by his wife or by his Secret Service. I mean, that's
all right. If you said you'd be the guy. You said you'd be the guy. Google or do a YouTube Trump veering off or Trump walking off. When he was supposed, he's walked. There's been the videos of him when he was he's supposed to sign laws into effect or executive orders. He's walked off and like left the thing he was supposed to be signed sitting on the table, and they had to like guide him back in here. Or he was like, "Oh, I'll sign it in the office." Or there's a one where he was on the stage. I think it was a G7 with the president of France, Macron, and he just walks off and leaves him there. And Macron's like, "Where are you going?" He says something and walks off. And Macron is like, "No, we're supposed to be here and say more." And he just walks off. Google Trump walking away from Macron.
I mean, I can agree with that. I mean, I could agree, but I'm saying is every single public event that I've seen Biden in, every event he has to be guided. So like Trump, I've seen him in the UFC just walk on by himself, go all the way to the UFC event, sit down. Like, he doesn't have to be guided. He doesn't have to be guided by anybody. But every single public event I've seen with Biden, somebody has to be there to guide him.
So are we judging president's capability to lead based on his walking ability?
Like, yeah, because
that's a big component. If you can't,
hold on a second.
If you can't,
y'all know we had a president in a wheelchair.
Roosevelt was in a wheelchair. Wilson was in a wheelchair. was paralyzed.
Now, I was just asking. This is a question.
All I'm saying is this: is when it comes down to it,
they hit that right, but they hit that fact until later we found out that was in a wheelchair.
Okay, hold a second. Let's just go back to. Let's just think back. They didn't. Everybody was in a wheelchair. Let's go back to what you just said, and you said about the wars, and that's a real salient point. Let's just talk about what is Trump do? How does the people who would be our adversaries look at Trump? And I'm gonna tell you why. Tell you how they look at us. Number one, Trump did kill Soleimani. I'll give him that. He was okay with killing Soleimani, even though Soleimani wasn't actively pursuing. But yeah, he was a spearhead. He was all about taking down American. He supported terrorists on attacks on U.S. allies, and so I get that. Soleimani was a good guy. Needed a bad guy. Needed to be killed. Got you. What happens to show what people think about Trump is what happened after. Iran, they sent a barrage of missiles at a U.S. barracks in Afghanistan. Trump did nothing. They shot down a multi-million-dollar drone, satellite drone, that spy drone. It wasn't like one of those little small ones. It was the size of a 747. Claiming that it was in the airspace, which it wasn't, shot it down, which was illegal. Trump did nothing. He was going to leave the Kurds to their own to get slaughtered. Our allies, people who helped us, who said we're going to help fight on the side of America. He was going to leave those people to get slaughtered, and he was going to leave Syria to get those people to get slaughtered and get annexed by Putin, by Russia. I mean, the other countries don't trust us and they don't like us. And Trump has made that worse.
Okay.
Everything he's done nothing to keep us safe on the global stage. All he's done, Google world leaders laughing at Trump. You'll get 10 or 11 videos of that. Google world leaders laughing at Biden. You get zero.
Okay. All right. Does anyone want to respond to that, Vaimona? Do you want to add on the response to that? Add on. Go ahead, Vaimona, if you want to.
I do need to leave in a few minutes.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so honored. Sorry about the background noise, y'all. What's there for me is
I mean, just to keep it simple, what's your response to, like, we were just discussing about their if they're physically able to do the job. There's a lot of conversation between Biden's ability to be able to physically do the job, and then the vice versa towards Trump. Based on what you've seen, what do you think about that? What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, well, it's been said on here before. I don't think it is a matter of physicality, because there's not a lot of options in terms. First of all, it's two of these men, right? These white men who are the age they are, who have the physical abilities or lack of there, and that is not what I'm. Clearly, what's for the job is to be the United States president, is to be good in business, right? Our government is a business. That's how everyone looks at us. That's how we have certain powers that we have. And so I don't think it is, and so in order to do that, in order to be a capitalist business person of the so-called free world, you do not need to be physically, even in your mind. Clearly, we both can see that in Biden and in Trump. You don't even need to have that mental state, mental health, high level to run this country, especially when it's based on so many oppressions of people all over the world, not only including in the United States, when there is so much homelessness, there is so much poverty in all major cities of the United States that has grown exponentially since COVID, right? There is such a huge level of addiction and just talking about, I'm not even just talking about police brutality or even just the genocide and missing, kidnapping of indigenous women on Turtle Island. I'm talking about addiction, about of certain drugs in the United States. That's a genocide in itself that is not talked about. That is not even like that these people, that these companies have poured millions, billions of dollars of the addiction in the United States. And so many people have lost a child, a mother, a sibling to addiction of meth, of various drugs, right? That's not even talked about. That is a war in the United States. And in a certain way, the war, the genocide in Palestine, I think it is, in a certain level, you have to listen to what I'm trying to say. It is a certain distraction to what is happening in the United States, right? So when people are like, oh, why should I even care about what's happening abroad? We all know what's happening abroad is what is happening here. And that is just one thing that I'm pointing to in terms of all the deaths, the homicides that don't need to be happening in the United States, in the free world.
If I want to, just for the sake of time, I appreciate. Thank you for sharing. I know you got to go, but I don't. For the sake of time, I want to go back to certain topics I want to cover with the panel. But I do appreciate you coming on, Vaimwana. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Vaimwana. All right. I just want to pass it back to I know Prime, Manic, and Jerk. I know you guys didn't get a chance to speak on it before we move on to the next one. I know Damon, you spoke on it. I know Rosie spoke on it about there's a big conversation about who's physically be able to lead and who can be able to be that fierce leader to represent the U.S. A lot of people are saying that if you have to pick a leader that can represent us to be able to go to war and negotiate with other countries who are trying to come against America, we need a strong, fierce leader to represent us. And a lot of people are saying that Biden or Trump, but what I see online, based on what I see online, it's more leading towards Biden that, he can't be that fierce leader because physically he's declining. You guys want to comment on that real quick, Jerk, Prime, or Manic?
Yeah, I just think that's a stretch. Like I think Dame kind of hit it where most people are just biased, but they're both damn near 80. Or Biden's 80, and so physical condition can't be a component. That's almost laughable. And I just think like we overlook a lot of stuff. Just even being in the military and stuff like that. Whoever we send to that table is always going to be respected. You're going to have a couple of, I'll say, countries that are always going to try to like do stuff on the slide, whether it's Russia or North Korea. But if you look back over the past, I'll say 20 years, like North Korea have been developing their nuclear program past like Republican, Democrat, presidents. So even when Trump was in office, they were still ramping up their nuclear program. Iran now is ramping up their nuclear program. So, certain countries are just going to act out. Russia's always been kind of a tricky, opponent. Putin really don't listen to anybody. So if anybody thinks like they could send a president over there and they could he negotiate with him, it's almost laughable at that case, because he's going to maneuver anything. He might play a little part, but he's making moves on the back end. And so I just think some of these, like I said, some of these things, it really doesn't matter, because they're going to keep on continue what they're doing. So whoever you send over there, it's just going to end with the same result, because it's been going on for like 2 decades now with Russia and North Korea.
All right, thank you, Jerk. And then Prime, before I pass it to Manny. Do you want to add on?
I think that Jerk he gives a valid point. When I say old, I mean physically how it's perceived. Like, I'm not just talking about age. It's in part because I had grandparents that both have passed because of dementia, and it's like this is the same thing that I saw from them. And it's not so much so to argue the fact of, is the waddling around and unawareness happening? It's more so to shine light on the fact that it's happening so often to where now it's becoming uneasy just watching it. Like, I could care less who the president is because of the fact that my vote doesn't count. And even though I take that more democratic stance on a lot of things, because I do believe that there's a need for law implementation and law enforcement as well, I do take that conservative outlook on who's going to be a better negotiator. And if I'm going to say anybody who has competency in negotiation, it's going to be Trump over Biden. Now, who might have
Prime, if you don't mind, can we expand on that? Because I know for the sake of time.
Competency in negotiation. Negotiator. Trump over Biden is because look how long Biden has been in office. Like, regardless of him being president, look how long he's been in office. He's had to whip votes. Okay, so yeah, you could say he's competent in negotiation, but as far as negotiation goes, on a stance of looking at the enterprise of America, Trump has a better skill set as far as negotiation goes. Now, I'm not saying that one is better than the other. All I'm saying is that Trump has a better skill set as far as negotiation on a scale of the enterprise of America. Biden has a skill set of negotiation as far as saving face for the governmental reform that Democrats typically will go for. Okay, and that's what I'm trying to shine light on. The reason why is because when you look at it from an outside scope looking in, Biden is more focused on our allies. Trump is more focused on America. So if we're going to sit down and have a conversation on which option is better for America, if you want America to be better, then vote Trump. If you want more reform with our allies to be better, so that way we can save face on the world, vote Biden. That's the reason why I say if I actually had a vote that counted, I would vote Tosi or Vivek. The reason why I say Vivek is because, one, he's a lot younger. He knows what he's doing as far as data analytics goes. That's his background. So anybody who wants to argue data with him, they're not going to be able to argue at the capacity that he argues. The reason why I say Tulsi is because Tulsi knows where to fish out the fucking truth. She's done it already. And so if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be her. And so that's the reason why I say if I had a vote that counted, I would choose Tulsi or Vivek.
Can I give a little pushback real quick?
Go ahead, George.
Because you got some solid points, and I definitely would. I'm looking at what's his name, Kennedy, because I do think we need somebody younger. But just going to your point, I think this is the misconception that a lot of people make. So definitely, I think Trump has a more solid business background.
Yeah,
but the United States government is not a business, because you got healthcare. You got FEMA, you got contingency, you got military. So you got to understand the inner workings of the government to have these operation experiences, because you're dealing with a whole nother level. You don't have the responsibility of like feeding a nation, and just like if an industry collapses, you got to prop that up. So there's so much more responsibility. Oh, go ahead.
I didn't say business, I said enterprise, because the United States is an enterprise. It's different government governing bodies that control the absolute of the country. So that's exactly what an enterprise is. The only person who truly has that experience is Trump, not Joe Biden.
Okay.
Now Joe Biden
has they both were president, so that's what I'm saying. They both got like the equal experience of running a government. They both had the 4 years, so that's what I'm saying.
One focuses on this and one focuses on that.
Okay. Joe, hold on really quick.
Sorry, Mike. Sorry, brother.
Yeah. I would say I agree with you on when you mentioned Biden tends to focus more on diplomacy in the international environment versus Trump, kind of uses his focus on America. But when you've been in politics, kind of as long as Joe Biden, you really understand the importance of the future with focusing on diplomacy, because, our presence internationally is really the importance of the economy. Because if you don't, have a strong presence, then our economy will go to shit, honestly. But as far as being feared in different countries, or respected or revered, or whatever word you want to use, I remember being in Germany when President Trump was in office, and it was embarrassing, honestly. Just a lot of jokes. I mean, he's, it just honestly, it weakened America internationally, just because the perception of foreigners that they had on America, like, this is your president. This is out of all the people in America, this is the guy you chose. And it's just like, so I definitely think the international environment was very unstable, and that's just not good for the economic future of the U.S. They both have their pros and cons. I think a pro that Trump has is that when he was in office, he was very dynamic and like really shook the political dynamics, and really brought a change. And honestly, it was exciting. I don't think you could cut on a TV without Trump being featured there everywhere, whether it was comedy, whether it was like real political things, whether it was, corruption, whether it was, even positive things. Because a lot of people did feel that sentiment of illegal immigration wasn't being addressed. So he made that a big focus, and, kind of garnered so much support. And I think he got people to participate in politics that, quite frankly, had given up, and kind of gave them, a different level of hope. So those are like the positives of Trump. But me personally, with the stability in my job and my profession, it's felt so much better under Biden, because it may be status quo, but my taxes changed, under Trump for the better for me. So from looking from a selfish standpoint, I enjoyed that. But under Biden, things kind of just, I don't want to say remain the same, but it kind of just kept status quo. And, sometimes that's not necessarily a bad thing. So my perspective on the two, if I were to have to make a decision, right now, I'm not sure I would want to go back to that uncertainty with Trump, because it was just, internationally, I think he took us so many steps back, like almost like the country could be bought. And, that's just a scary place to be, especially when you're working overseas representing the United States.
All right. Thank you so much.
As a diplomat.
Can
Which
I
I am.
can I get some facts, interject some facts in here real quick? Because I know we have some facts over feeling. So let's get some facts up in here. All right. Mark Zandi, lead economics for Moody's. If anybody know and who's watching don't know who Moody's is, they're a credit rating company. They rate their analytics
Moody's
are
Standard
used
& Poor's.
Yeah. Their Finch and S&P are the ones that gauge the economic health of not just companies but countries as well. Mark Zand had his team. He's the lead economist for Moody's. Said a new Moody's analysis finds Biden's policies are significantly better for the U.S. economy, while Trump's plan would trigger a recession, cut 3.2 million jobs, add 1% to inflation, and reduce middle-class families' income. Biden's policies are far better for the economy. They lead to more growth and less inflation. And to piggyback off of that real quick, there are no Fortune 500 CEOs who are supporting Trump. This is a historic break. The Trump economic pattern frightens them. It is extremely inflationary. It leads to increased inflation and plunge of the GDP. The Fortune 500 CEOs will be Biden voters. They won't want a fabric of society pulled apart. And that's from Jeffrey Soenfeld, professor of Yale School of Management and CEO of the Executive Business Leadership Institute. So let's get away from the conjecture and all that kind of stuff and what have you. These are the smartest economic minds in the United States saying that Trump would do a lot more damage to us economically. So all this perception of strength and all that kind of stuff means bullshit if inflation rises, if the middle class family income drops, and the GDP loses. We lose plunge the GDP. So if we just want to do record for record, one last thing. Biden, highest stock market growth ever. Best job market in 50 years. U.S. manufacturing up 25% in the last 3 years. Highest economic growth by any major advanced economy. All I'm saying is, whether or not Biden fell off his bike while he was riding, if he can sit at a desk with two broke legs and make this kind of gains for the U.S. people and have this much positive impact on the American families, he's just a better way to go. It's just, I mean, so if just say what you want to say. Trump makes you feel good. He's famous. He's been in rap songs, he makes you feel good. He makes you feel happy. He makes you feel like something because he's not smarter. Doesn't have a better character. He doesn't have a better world image. He doesn't have a better understanding of politics. I mean, it's just you vote for you're voting off your feelings, not off facts. And this thing was supposed to be facts over feelings. So if you like him better, vote for him. But if you really do the work and see who's better for the country, you see who's actually a smarter place to put your vote. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so how is he not smarter? So show face to what the proof is behind how is he not smarter?
Well, I'm saying smarter in the act that he understands politics and understands world geopolitical politics, and he understands, and people relate to him on an interpersonal level. Biden better than Trump.
Okay,
far better.
Do you know the inflation rate before?
It's below 4 right now.
Yeah, but what
what
was
it
it
is now?
But what was it
if
high?
you had a background in economics, you would know that the inflation rate has nothing to do with the presidency.
Yeah.
No.
The inflation rate has everything to do with the economic power of Congress, not the president.
Well, all I'm saying is, it's like, but the policies that you support, that you sign, and that you push forward helps contribute to that. That's the way it is. And like I said, the smartest minds, economic minds in the United States are saying he's bad for the country. So who do you listen to? Do you listen to, who do you get your information from?
Yeah.
If the smartest people are saying he's bad for the country, and you just they're part of the cabal to like keep us all slaves, and I mean it's just bizarro world.
Let me pass it to Rose. Let me pass it to Rose real quick. Rose, go ahead. Let me respond. Go ahead, Rose.
So you guys are saying that, well, I mean, we all know that whoever is our president represents us, right? So that just tells you right there that idiots who voted for Biden are exactly that. Right there. That's a great representation of America as Biden, because he's an idiot. And so every country looks at America like we're idiots, because we are. I know, because I'm European and I get a lot of news from Europe, and everyone in other countries look at us like we're fucking idiots, because we are. It's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. Trump cannot be bought. That's why the swamp hated him so bad, and they wanted him out, because he was trying to take them out, because he cannot be bought. Every other
Can't be bought
because he's a billionaire. You can't buy a billionaire. All right.
All you got to do is have dirt on a billionaire.
Hold on. If he was a billionaire,
Let her finish. Let her finish.
You guys spoke, so let me speak. Okay.
sorry, I'm
The
sorry.
only one that kept us out of wars was Trump. So the fact that you're saying, oh, he was in the international this and that, that's all BS, man.
What war win?
All the other countries love Trump because he was smart and they like doing business with smart business people. That's that. As far
So
as
Rose, you're a millionaire and I'm a diplomat, so I understand the
I
foreign
didn't-
environment a little bit.
Let's make sure we just finish your point before we move on to the next person. Okay.
you
Go
never
ahead,
talked
Rose, please.
he would be the best as far as physically fit, and I just think he would be a great candidate. If him and Trump went toe to toe, either one won, we would be great as a republic. That's that. Now the national debt, it's over 35 trillion. Who's paying for this? Who's paying for all this? It's going to be our future kids. Why? Because of the idiots that we put in office. And we are in a recession. Someone mentioned that if Trump gets in, we're going to be in a recession. We're in a recession right now. Do you guys go grocery shopping? Do you guys pay rent? Do you guys see how everything's just doubled in the last 4 years? All right. Now let's talk about the government. The government's for the people. The government's not for the people. They are controlled by the corporations. And you guys say, oh, the government is not business. Of course it's a freaking business. Why do you think we pay taxes? Why do you think it's run by corporations? And why do you think we have such huge national debt? Because they're making all the money. And guess who's paying for it? All the slaves. That's us, the working middle class that they're trying to eliminate, which they've successfully done so in the last 4 years. The rich are getting richer and the middle class are getting poorer.
Well, you're not part of that. You're a millionaire, so.
Wait, can I jump in there real quick?
I'm not a billionaire.
I said millionaire.
Yeah,
Not
but
part of the working middle class.
millionaire status to really run shit. You can't, like, millionaires, yeah. But at the end of the day, we're all slaves because we're all working for the people at the top. As far as Russia and North Korea go, they just want to be left the fuck alone. North Korea is a threat because they don't listen to the U.S. They're not threatened by U.S. because the U.S. can put a base in North Korea, and North Korea can have their weapons so that they can be left the fuck alone. Russia, they don't want anything to do with America. They just want to do business. But America, oh, Russia's the enemy. If you guys ever saw the interview with Chris Tucker and Putin, you see how smart Putin is and how loved he is by his people and how much he just doesn't care about American stuff. He just wants to be left alone. But America wants to go all over the country, have all their bases everywhere so they can control everything, because that's what they do. They control everything economically because they use force. It's not because they're better or smarter. It's because they use force with the military, which is where most of our tax money goes to pay. So that's all I got to say.
Jerk, I know, Jerk, you say you want to add on. Go ahead, Jerk.
Yeah, so there was a lot, but whenever you look at like inflation and stuff like that, so if you're looking at a 4-year period, typically like the act started in a prior presidency that happens to cause some of them stuff. So COVID was like the thing that caused inflation and all that stuff. So it was you can't really pin it on any president because it was just no, I'm just saying for the most part, because it blocked a lot of supply chains, because I had to deal with a lot of this stuff where cost was like escalating. So it was just like a very unique situation that everything jumped. So it wasn't like Prime was saying, like, man, it really had nothing to do with the presidents. That now they could do some things with like lowering the rates like that and then everybody went on a frenzy. That did help, like, increase the cost on stuff. So, but you can't just pin it on like Biden because it's happening in this thing. Because, like I said, the events typically happen before that. So, like what Dame was saying, you look at Moody's and stuff, you could damn near predict based on their projections, like when Obama, the next president that came after Obama, was going to have a good, economy and stuff like that. They was even calling that out like years before that. So you just got to look at the trends. But I don't really like too much of the president bashing. I think we need to get, because anybody that runs for presidency, to me, man, I tilt my hat because it's a tough job. One side of the nation's always not going to like you. So, like I said, I try to just stick to the topics and stuff rather than bashing them, because they are our presidents, and I don't go down that lane of bashing people. I just have somebody I might prefer a little bit more than the other. And what was the last piece you said as far as like, I'll stop right there. So I'll leave it at that. Dame,
Do you feel like his COVID response elongated the economic problems that we had in the United States? Do you feel like, well, first of all, actually, do you feel like he had an accurate, concise, and real thought out response to COVID?
You asking me?
I'm not asking anybody. Joe, you feel like he had his response was, he had the appropriate response to the COVID pandemic?
I think he had an appropriate response that any president would have had on the table at the time.
Bullshit. Because because he told Bob Woodward in an interview, he lies to the American public in order so they won't know how serious things are. So if you straight up and you tell them it's serious, you need to take it serious.
I can go on the opposite side and say that, everybody who did the case studies on the COVID vaccine lied about the results of what COVID vaccine entailed. That is
no. I'm not talking about the vaccine itself. I'm talking about the fact that his response to it, but the vaccine was one part of his response. His response is number one, how did he inform the American people that this was a dangerous and serious situation that people need to have?
Too much focus on it way before it impacted the United States. Now, was his response played down comparative to the impact that it could have caused? Of course it was. We all know that. That is what it is. But at the time when the response was needed, it was still too early for the United States. It was still too early for us. That's what happened.
Do you remember what happened when what was the thing that Barack Obama had to deal with? What was it? Was it
the swine flu?
Swine flu.
Yeah.
His response was how many people had died of the swine flu before he made it a priority to control the spread of the swine flu. I think it was maybe 18 people, 20 people it
was like 25 people,
who died, where he made it a priority.
The response that so are you talking about the very first response that Trump had? That was before it even impacted the United States.
Hold on a second. No. That was absolutely not, because remember, it was after 100 or so people died. He said it's just going to fade away. It's here and it's going to fade away. Remember him saying those words on national TV.
I don't disagree with you as far as his response being played down. He was playing down.
He played it down all the way to the end.
So the only reason why I know for a fact that when they asked him for his very first response before COVID impacted the United States was because that was when my daughter was born. And so we were stuck. I lost my job at the time. So I lost, my daughter was born. I was supposed to report back to work, and then COVID hit. And so the thing is that when COVID was being talked about, I was actually in the hospital with my daughter at that time before America got impacted. And that's the reason why I say he made the appropriate response at the time being for whichever president would have been sitting there being asked the same question. Now, was his response that he said played down as far as the impact that it could have had on America? Of course it was. I'm not arguing that point. What I'm arguing is the timeline of which it happened, which it did happen before America was prominently impacted. And the reason why I know is because that was when my daughter was born. I was sitting in the hospital when it all happened. And so the only thing that we were able to watch was the fucking news. And so I'm not arguing that his response was played down, because he did play it down. And for the longest time, Trump said that it wasn't it's not that big of a worry, and it ended up becoming a big worry. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to argue the point that his response wasn't played down. What I'm trying to argue is that the timing of his response didn't impact America just yet. That's what I'm arguing.
Okay. But you have to concede that even if this had never happened, he had other models that he could have taken from the way China approached it, the way France approached it, the way other countries approached it, that mitigated the devastation that it had on their country. They had shorter duration and less fatalities of the same situation because they viewed it as serious and they took immediate steps to combat it and to control the spread by giving information, by lockdowns, by everything they had to do in order to make sure people protected themselves. I think what happened was Trump did not want to save face. So what he did was he did something that you as a president shouldn't do. You should say, I need to let my people know that this is serious so they can protect themselves, and I will put in things in place to protect you. He didn't do that, which made it last way longer than it could have, what it should have, and have more fatalities than it could have. So that is indicative of him taking care of the American people. He put his own self-image ahead of the health and safety of the American people, and he'll do that every single time. He is never he's never the things. Well, we hold on a masculine mind. We have the 3 tenets of masculinity, and I think this is real important when it comes to people you pick to lead. It's like, are you resilient? He's not resilient. Anything that goes wrong, he blames on everybody else, or he whines and cries about it his way through. Are you accountable? Blames everybody. If it goes good, it's because he did it. If it goes bad, because it was other people's issue. Discipline. The man is a fat fuck who hit 2 fists, 2 cheeseburgers left and right, and boned a porn star when his wife was pregnant at home with his kid. So there's no discipline there.
During Shark Week.
Yeah, exactly. So all the tenets of masculinity that we would try to hold on to and say, okay, these are the things that are important to us, which I think make good leaders. He has none of those things, 0 of those things. But yet, for some reason, he's an acceptable person to lead the country that you live in and make decisions related to your success or failure in the United States.
I just want to respond real quick to the panel. Am I the only one on this panel that believe that based on what I've learned and read on the research on COVID, that COVID was just a hoax?
It was a hoax. I don't know what you're talking about. The shutdown was
COVID was very real.
COVID was very real. My uncle Lemmy died of COVID, but it wasn't no hoax. If you want to see me get out of my uncle Lemmy Harriman died in Chicago. Google it, of COVID.
Can I just introduce some logic real quick?
No. Let me just say this. And
go ahead.
Molesting his daughter and his son is a freaking pedophile. What the fuck, man? You guys are like somewhere else.
Well, hold on. Whoa. Donald Trump, how many times was he on Mike Epstein's plane to his private island? He's got pictures of him hugging a pedophile who brutalized and raped girls as young as 13 for 20 years. Got pictures with him, and one of his religious advisors just stepped down in the state of Texas because he got caught improperly having sexual advances to a 15-year-old. So he's very comfortable hanging around and kicking it with pedophiles.
They all
so
are.
if you want to protect children, and let's dive into this whole protecting children shit that people always try to say.
He did to his own daughter, and his son's a freaking pedophile. Everybody knows it. They're a crime.
Yeah, we go way off board with all this.
No,
shit.
like crazy
you asked about COVID, right?
But
that's true.
You were talking about the
COVID.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
I want to hear how COVID was a hoax.
No. So this is my.
Hold on.
More people died from the vaccines than the actual damn sickness, which was just the flu.
Yeah. No, based on what I've read, this is
y'all got medical degrees now.
I don't know if you guys have you guys heard of Dave Smith?
You guys are maskers and Fauci supporters.
You guys know who Dave Smith is? Dave Smith.
I don't know who Dave Smith is.
No, I don't know who.
He's a political. I think he's a political commentator, but he does. I mean, he does a lot of research, and he talks about COVID, and a lot of the studies that he brought up said that there was no difference. The only people that COVID had effect on were elderly people. People were really, really old. That's the only demographic of people that COVID had an effect. But if you were young, everybody that weren't old, there was literally no difference between people who got COVID and people who got the vaccination and didn't get the vaccination. So like the whole COVID thing was just like a hoax. So they were saying, you know what, everybody's getting affected, when in reality it was just the elderly people that was being affected. There was like, they look at the study between people who got the vaccination and between the people who didn't get vaccinated. There's no difference between the deaths. Like there was no difference, like whether you took the vaccine or not.
Like the vaccine wasn't a cure. It basically prevented this. It was like it mitigated the spread of the COVID.
But
Yeah,
it
like
didn't.
lessens that
was
impact.
proven that it didn't.
Yeah, and okay.
It was no, I'm serious. Like you can actually look this up yourself. This is not me dipping down into conspiracy. It was proven that it didn't actually do anything for
By whom?
for the
Sort
virus.
everything I read, I sorted the source. What is the source? Everything I've stated, every fact I've read, I've sorted. I'll
find it and send it to you, Damien. I'll find it.
Okay.
Now, if you look at most things, man, it did have an impact. But this is how you know it's not a hoax. And just be logical with me. If you go to every ER room, whether it's a blue state, it's a red state, talk to those ER doctors, and they will tell you that their ERs were overwhelmed with people
filled
with those receptors, with those breathing machines that they had to get,
respirators
and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't fake. Like, think about it. There's a hospital in rural counties across each state. The stage like a hoax that big. Come on, y'all. We gotta let's apply logic to that. So that's all I'm saying. It's just like
videos, but they had no time to treat the sick. Those hospitals were empty. It was all a hoax.
There were
talk to the ER doctors. That's all I'm saying. Talk to the actual people on ground, the nurses that were quitting because they were overwhelmed.
People they were getting money. All these hospitals were getting money if they cited that everyone died from COVID.
They lost money. Most hospitals lost a ton of money because they couldn't do the actual surgeries and stuff because they were overwhelmed with their ER rooms because of the patients that they had to take. So that's all I'm saying. Like, if y'all, this is what I'm saying. This is where you guys are exposing. Like, you're unwilling to embrace logic.
No, I agree with you, Jordan. I'm not denying the fact. I'm not denying the fact that like people got COVID. I'm not denying that fact. But what I'm saying is, I'll find it. I'll find the link and I'll send it to you. There are people who got COVID, but the people, if you look at, they did a study where they studied the people who got vaccinated and the people who didn't get vaccinated. There was no difference of how many people got killed. Because usually, what did the government tell us? Get vaccinated, and your likelihood of getting COVID was going to go down, or you're never going to get COVID. But people who got the vaccination, it didn't make no difference from them getting it again compared to the people who didn't even get vaccinated. Because logically, if the vaccination was true and COVID was true, then the people who got vaccinated, there should be a decrease of deaths compared to the people who didn't get vaccinated. But they saw they did the studies on both people. It was no difference.
Well, it's like the flu shot. The flu shot's not gonna get rid of the flu, but it's just it lowers the impact of how the flu could do, because there's like seasons where flu could wipe out billions of people. So that's
what Will is trying to point out on is the fact of the matter is that it did end up dissipating after the fact of that study. So why did it dissipate after the fact that the COVID vaccine wasn't really doing anything in the first place? And so I'm not arguing that COVID was, me personally, I'm not arguing that COVID was a hoax. What I'm arguing is that the vaccine itself wasn't everything that it was chopped up to be. That's what I'm arguing. And so
it actually had an impact.
Like the impact of the vaccine was not what we were told it was. And so that's the thing. And then also another point to point out on is, do I think that like COVID as a whole was something that was an impact for everyone? Of course it was. Were the people that died? Yeah, I'm not trying to disregard any of that. The thing of the matter is that Utah, in the state of Utah, we had one of the highest rates of like transfer as far as people getting COVID. But another thing is that you said that most hospitals lost money. In Utah, the biggest industry in Utah is healthcare. Most of the healthcare system in Utah actually quadrupled money over time.
That's incorrect.
So
I'm telling you, look at the financial reports.
COVID vaccines go, the COVID vaccine might have been paid for, but as far as everything else, people still had to pay for that. Like people still had to pay for that. Like that wasn't backed by our government. The vaccines were, but the treatment itself, the whole entire respirators, everything, the whole entire making sure everything was sanitized, all of that, people made hella money in the state of Utah.
Now they got a lot of reimbursements for that, but the way it works, and this is where y'all miss out, like they're still going to get paid for services somebody, but
of course, yeah.
Whether you get paid for a surgery versus like treating a COVID person, it's a lot less money that you're recouping. So the surgeries that if you talk to a hospital person, they'll prefer to do surgeries because they're going to make a lot more money versus like the COVID treatments. So when you got like majority of your staff is like doctors, physicians, you're paying these salaries, but you're losing out like a major portion of your money. They had to and then they probably had to pull in a lot of nurses to do contracts and stuff because a lot of people were quitting that. So they had to pay higher salaries for that. They lost a ton of money. You could just look at the financials.
They ended up losing money.
No. My issue with the COVID thing was like they started making laws to kind of make people who didn't get the vaccination into second-class citizens, because there was a point in time during that COVID, right? You couldn't fly on the plane if you didn't get the vaccination. People lost their jobs because you had to have a vaccination to be employed. Certain jobs, there are certain businesses that had to be shut down. There was like there was an article I was read. There was like I think there was like millions of small businesses literally shut down and never recovered from the COVID. So all I'm saying is they made. I'm not denying that COVID existed. Like there are people that died. I do agree with that, but I do agree with Prime. The government pushed out COVID like it was a real thing that is going to affect everybody. But when you look at after the COVID, when you look at the data and the studies, COVID didn't really have had an impact regardless if you got vaccinated or not. And then a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people couldn't fly. A lot of people lost a lot during the COVID because the government pushed it and forced it on people who didn't want to get vaccinated. And they put policies in place to kind of make them second-class citizens compared to people who had this vaccination. They could fly on planes and et cetera.
But so just real quick, because
I guess Trump should have had a better response, and I guess none of that would have happened. It maybe I don't know. Maybe you're just making my point for me.
That came on the Biden.
No. But if Trump, it happened during his when he was the president.
It started 2020.
Exactly. So if he would have had a better response up front, it would may even not made it into Biden's presidency. That's all I'm saying. It happened at the beginning of the year, so he had almost a full year to like kind of come with a program or a policy that could mitigate it and shorten it, the duration and the veracity of it. And he chose not to because it would have made him look bad. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. But there was also so many unknowns. That's why I was like,
yeah.
With both presidents, this is like, man, this thing was spreading like wildfire. But the way it worked is like hospitals report up like the deaths and the amount of patients that they have up to the government. So that's why they took that information and that's why they responded the way they did. So it wasn't like they was operating blindly like, oh, we just want to lock everybody down. They're like, damn, all these hospitals are reporting. They literally have like task force that collects all this data up and was like, dang, okay, if in Wyoming, they had this many deaths in their ERs. So you know what? We do got to take this approach and start, locking things down because you don't know how it's gonna. This being a new pandemic, they don't know how it's gonna respond to everybody's body. Yeah. So, like you guys, we're Monday morning quarterbacking now, where it's like, hey, like it didn't impact everybody as what we perceive, but when you're getting fed all this information about like all these deaths and people going down and getting sick, they almost got to respond like it because the first thing what everybody would do if they didn't respond and say like it did spread and even young people were dying, y'all would be blaming them, be like, oh, why did they lock anything down? So, it's almost like when you're president, you're almost in a no-win situation. So you got to assess the data and you got to do what you got to do. And you just got to take the hit. So I would have done the same thing. I would have locked it down if I'm looking at the data and I'm like, shit.
Exactly.
I'm locking it down.
The way you keep a foreign-born situation from coming your way is you got the best virologist, you got the most data than anybody as the president. If you see in Wuhan, China, there's this thing that's killing people pretty quickly, like significantly. It was already started. You see in other countries, it's killing people, and then you get one case in America. That should have been enough to be like, okay, we need to do something right now because I see what it's doing over there. I mean, it's not like they hid it from us. That you could see what had happened, what was going on over there, and say, okay, we got one case in America. What do we have to do to make sure that none of the things that's happening over there don't happen over here? And that's leadership. When you do that and you move accordingly, you have the best interest of the people and say, how can I keep this from becoming an issue where I live? Because I see it happening across the street. If you see something happening to your neighbor across the street, you're gonna be there and be like, well, I hope that that fire or what's happening don't happen to me. You're gonna take precautions to make sure it doesn't happen to you if you're fucking smart.
But see, just to give a little push, because even just looking at Donald Trump's side, man, just think about it. You're getting all this information, and then people are feeding you different perspectives. So he's sitting there, he's looking at it like, damn, okay, if I shut down the country, this is gonna, like Will was saying, this could kill small businesses. This is gonna hurt our economy. So that's why I'm saying, man, I can't even be mad at the presidents. That's why I don't ever bash them, because I could put myself in their shoes and just think of the decision.
Of the inaction. The shutting down was a result of the inaction. Now you wouldn't have had to shut down the economy had you had a plan. It started the plan.
No, I agree. There should have been a better plan, but I'm just saying, like, overall, I could see why he didn't want to shut down everything either, because it did have a big impact, and we still are like reeling ourselves out of that. So it's just like, man, you don't have no great decision, and I think sometimes, like, us as the citizens, man, we bash it, but man, these decisions, I would have went no part of that shit.
I heard this from Tim Pool. You know, Tim Pool. I heard this from Tim Pool, and then he was reading it from an article. They said that the plan that we had for COVID, it was initially planned to launch it during Trump's campaign on the last year, 2020. But the reason why they pulled it back, because they didn't want to launch it during Trump's last year, because they didn't want to give him the credit. They actually held it back and wanted to do it under Biden because they wanted Biden to get the credit, but they didn't realize how the backlash was going to go.
Who is they?
Now they regret it.
Who is they? They were Trump's people. How can Trump's people not know who's calling? Who is they?
No, it was a conversation. They were discussing the very thing that we're discussing about, and I have to find the clip and pull it up. But
Trump's people were the people. If they held it back, it was Trump's own people held it back, because Trump hired all these people, and those were Trump people he put in place to deal with it. Biden had no power. He wasn't the president, so he had zero power until January of the next year. So if in November, if they had something in place that could have saved lives and it was held back, it was Trump people who held it back. It wasn't no Biden people, because Biden had no people.
Okay, I mean, we can agree to disagree on that.
He wasn't the president. Not no people. He was a private citizen.
I know. I mean, even if you get elected president, but there's still people that may not follow exactly everything that you do. So I think
then you suck as a president. If you got people who don't listen to you, then what does that tell about you as a president? You're supposed to hire people that all they're gonna do is listen to you.
Well, I think that's what Trump is talking about when he gets elected. If he does get elected, he's gonna go back and fire everybody that he believed that didn't really had his best interest as president before. Because sometimes when you get elected as president, you inherit a lot of the people that was in power from the previous presidency, even though they may not support you.
But you're talking about the Schedule F employees. That basically what he's trying to do is say he's trying to classify all these people as part of the previous administration, so he can fire them, so he can put sycophants and people who are loyal to him into place. So what you're gonna have is a lot of people who aren't the experts at it, just because they're loyal to what you call it. He put so many people in place in his cabinet who had zero expertise in the field that they were being that in their position, that it was comical. And the people who did have expertise, the generals, all that, what happened? They all left him. And now 60% of the people who worked for him said they wouldn't work for him again. And not alone that, some of them said they wouldn't even vote for him again.
Okay.
And only president who ever heard that from any president. They said 60% of the people you hired call you idiot, call you stupid. They write books saying how dumb you are. and they make a living saying how much of a moron you are, because that's how much little respect they have for you right now. Bill Barr is still he's going to vote for him, but he still says I'm gonna hold my nose when I'm at the polling site. But he is a fucking moron. He does not have the capacity to accomplish anything that he says because he doesn't understand the nuances and how the of being a president.
Well,
And it's
let
just
me push back a little bit, because going back
Please.
to what Jerk said, going back to what Jerk was saying is being president. So it's like when you select your cabinet members, it still has to be approved by Congress and the Senate.
But he had them both.
If you elect,
It's not hard.
if you put people in those positions, the Senate still has to decide whether they're okay with it or not. So if you select people based off of just your interests, the Senate still has to say yes or no. If you select people that don't have your best interests, the Senate still has to say yes or no. So to say that the president is the person who's picking these people is kind of like overstepping what the president actually has control over.
Okay.
Going back to what Jerk was saying, it's like being the president, it doesn't mean you just have all of this power. And having your cabinet doesn't mean that all of these people have your best interest in. So saying that 60% of the people that left, it shows what kind of character as a president you are. If the Senate hates you, then they're not gonna let you select the people that you can select. Pretty much you're subject to whatever the Senate is gonna allow. So if you understand the presidency, you should be able to logically think through that. Hey, if I'm president, I have to still be able to select people that the Senate is going to approve. Because if I select the wrong people, then the Senate's not going to approve it. Now I'm going to be stuck in this iteration of having to select different people over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah. And so just to push back a little bit.
How often does that happen? How often that the Senate does not confirm a presidential cabinet pick? How often has happened? What? 1% at a time, 2% at a time.
Filibustering happens every single presidency.
Well, they're different, but then they ultimately get affirmed, right?
Yeah.
Name one person that Donald Trump, idiot or genius, that Donald Trump selected for his cabinet that didn't get affirmed. Name one. I'll wait.
As far as
any cabinet position, Ben Carson as the head of HUD. A fucking surgeon, cardiovascular surgeon, head of the urban development. How was that possible? So anybody he wanted in any position. What was the lady who got head of education that was never even a teacher and never even went to public school, head of public schools? What was her credentials? And she got affirmed. It just doesn't happen, like you said. The Senate don't sit there and say, I know you picked Ben Carson, but we're gonna not. They do what the fuck the president wants.
The president's just a puppet. It's what the party wants, and the party is owned by big corporations who pay them. So I don't know what you guys are talking about, because the president is just a face. They're a puppet. They're being strung by the people at the top that own everything that you buy. It's that simple.
So Joe, did you see the last part where I said name one person that Donald Trump didn't get affirmed that had no qualifications for the position, that cabinet position that they're in? Ben Carson.
No, I mean I can't name it off the top
because it didn't happen.
I'm just stating that what happens in that situation, like based off of what Jerk was saying, being in the presidency, right, is that you're still subject to what the governing laws that we currently have. So I'm not saying that was his decision all right. Did he make a good decision? I don't care about that. What I'm saying is that the decisions that he was presented was the decisions that he had to make. That's what I'm trying to say.
Like I said, he wants to get rid of people who are been in the job, know the job, are effective, because there's a possibility that they might disagree with him, because so many people he hired previously disagreed with him. So he want to hire sycophants who may not have any experience in a position just because they'll shut up and do what they want him to do, even if what he wants to do is asinine and bad for the country.
Going way too deep into it. I think that there's a lot of skill transfer. You don't need to be a teacher to understand what exactly preliminary curriculum is. You don't have to be a teacher.
If you've never gone to public school and you don't have children who go to public school, and you are the person who determines funding for public schools, and you have no basic understanding of public school dynamics and economics, you can still be the head person in charge of all public schools.
Yeah,
or should you? You can, but should you?
You can,
but should you?
Trump didn't appoint those directly. He listened to He had people that.
Oh, so he's not in charge. He was a puppet.
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say is it doesn't matter who's in the position. What matters is if the job gets done or not.
But you can see how the jobs got done not very well.
If you look
I can say that for any president. It doesn't necessarily succumb to Trump. I could say that for any president.
But can you really?
Yeah, I can. I mean, Baby Bush was a really good example.
Like I said, no, but his people, all of his people, most of them, actually not all of them, the majority of his people stayed for the full 8 years, not a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then wrote a book of how shitty and how dumb George Bush was.
But they probably should have. Some of them probably should have left though. Like,
all I'm saying is, like, if people say if you got employees that work for you, and then they leave you and say Joe was a motherfucking moron, he didn't know anything. There's a reason that they're saying if it's a chorus of people who work for you quit after a short tenure under you and said you're a moron, you may be a moron.
Well, I still sold the company, so.
But I'm just saying.
No, Rose, you said something about it. I couldn't hear what the.
I didn't be a moron because everyone knows he's a moron. No one's gonna buy it. They write stuff on Trump because it's sellable. Trump is a very marketable person. It's all about how you market yourself.
But see, can I ask a question to all y'all? Don't y'all think that's the problem? It's the more or less the people versus like the actual candidates.
That's why this country is
down
shithole. So what you're saying actually applies to your party, the Democratic Party. I mean, just look at the Supreme Court justice. That's a prime example. She doesn't even know what a woman is. Hell.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
no, I was just gonna say, man, don't you think overall? Because I know we always give like the politicians the smoke, but don't you think it's the people really without a clear, defined, policies that we want them to do, and we're always just so distracted by like the sidebar stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
You're the leader. You're the coach. You calling the plays. Don't get me wrong. I get it. If you coach a football team, you have assistant coaches, you have offensive coordinators, you have all that stuff. But you call the plays and you spearhead. You've hired the people who can bring your vision to life. You don't say, hey, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, so y'all throw some shit at me and what sounds good, I'm gonna kind of run with. Because one of the things that they said about Donald Trump is people, you know why some of the people liked him? Because he said he'll sign whatever you put in front of him. If you go and say, oh my God, you look so amazing and handsome and strong and powerful today, will you sign this bill that takes away funding from a million starving kids in Appalachia? And oh, sure, I look good. Okay, sure, yeah, I'll sign that. That's the kind of president he was. He was subject to his vanity, made him subject to being manipulated, and his greed made him subject to being blackmailed and bought. You don't want a president who's in debt to run him because he's subject to other countries saying, you know what, Putin is one of the richest. People think it's Elon Musk. Putin is the richest person on this fucking earth. You know,
he got money.
Yeah, because he hides his money. He hides his money. So you don't think that Putin would be like, yeah, I know you got this. I get it. You got this. Let me finish, Rose, and I promise I'll give it back to you. I know I've been talking a lot, but let me just finish this point.
Much. Let's talk about
but because I'm making sense. All right, but it's just like I get it.
Let Damien finish, Rose. I'll come back to you.
I get it, Rose. I get it. You're very passionate about what you're saying. All I'm saying is you don't want somebody who's in debt or any type of financial strain, because Putin could say, you know, that $500 million that you got to go owe the state of New York, I got you.
You know, 83 million you got to pay Eugene Carroll. I got you, man. You know, all these fines that you'll be levied against you because the Trump organization. I got you, man. All you got to do is just look the other way. We're going to go into Ukraine. We're going to take a little bit. We're going to take that land back. Just chill over there.
U.S. went in
You
there.
what you call it? You know what? We won't. I'm Iran. Yeah, you know, just look a little ways. We're gonna make nuclear bombs and stuff like that, and be a possible threat, even though and harbor terrorists that have ideologies that are against American interests. But you know, here's a couple of dollars. Just chill. Or when you get out of just hope when you get out of the office, you can build a building in Moscow. You know, you want that Trump Tower in Moscow. I'll let you build a building in Moscow. What do you think about that?
That's
And you don't think Trump takes that deal all day?
They're all like that at the top. They're all, when it comes to, at the end of the day, it just comes down to business. They don't care about us. We're just the slaves.
I had a question. I had a question for the Democrats. I think I agree with Rose. One of the things I'm a big believer. I'm against war. I think America has too many problems. We should be focusing on ourselves to fix America instead of sending foreign aid to fix other countries. I think America should be a number one prioritization. But under Biden, there's been two wars. Under Biden, there's been two wars: Ukraine. Then we have the one in Palestine with Israel, and then Biden has signed off and sent billions of dollars. I think almost last time I checked, it was almost 60, 70 billion, something close to that, maybe more.
A lot.
Billions of dollars towards foreign aid, not only to Ukraine but also the foreign aid towards Israel. While you know, there's so many. I mean, if you use that amount of money that they sent overseas to the things that we're trying to figure out here, I mean, we could fix a lot of things that we're trying to fix, especially when it comes to our debt. What's your? I mean, under Trump, I mean, if we go based on statistics, under Trump, 0 wars, and then under Biden, multiple wars, and that we are involved in, not only with Ukraine but also with Israel. What do you? I mean. That's one of the reasons why I would prefer Trump, because I don't want us to go into war. And then there's a lot of talks about, you know, World War III. I know we need a strong leader that could be able to kind of put down those wars, so that way we don't get involved and we don't have to send our sons and daughters overseas and die over wars that's not even our own. I mean, what's your response to that? I know Damien, you're a Democrat.
Okay. You know why we give foreign aid to our allies, and you know why they're our allies and why we call them our allies is because a lot of the things that happen that keep us safe, we get intelligence from other places. We have people who monitor our biggest threats in like Russia. We have people in Ukraine who let us know we see them building up their nuclear arsenal. We see this. We see that. Half of the intelligence we get is because our allies get it. Our allies give it to us. Same situation in the Middle East. It's good to have a foothold in the Middle East because we need to know what the people who hate us are doing to us or are plotting against us. And, you know, so that's a common reason why we give aid to our allies. And that's the reason they're allies, because they know they're more than willing to put themselves on the line for us, give us that intelligence, give us that information, because they know in their time of need, we'll come to their aid. We'll assist them if they need it. That's why they do it. Half of the reasons why we're safe is because other people have told us that's like this. If you lived on a block with a bully and somebody said that I heard bullies planning on punching you in the face, wouldn't you want to know? As far as just like, oh my God, the bully just comes up and punches me in the face. And then it's like, well, I knew about it, but I just didn't say nothing. But like, well, why didn't you tell me that this bully was about to punch me in the face? That's what it is like when you have foreign allies all over. You need people to let you know what the people who fucking hate you are plotting against you.
So that justifies sending like 170. I mean, I'm looking up online on Google, like 175 billion. That justifies that?
It does. It does. If it saves lives, it saves American lives and American interests.
Do you want to read that facts? Go ahead, because no one else does. Because war, we know, is profit, and it's not about safety. It's a money laundering scheme. They take all that money for themselves. Don't you know this? America is the bully. We are the biggest enemy. All those countries, they don't want anything to do with us. They just want to do business. America wants to go in, put their bases everywhere, and bully everyone. Because if they don't listen to us, guess what? We have a freaking base in their country. We can easily take over. It has nothing to do with safety. That's an illusion.
I like the fact that we bullies, man. But just to piggyback off of what Dame was saying,
history, you'll see we actually go and we start wars. America starts wars.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But as far as Russia, like Russia was doing a lot of stuff with Syria, and you know they're always kind of undercutting us. So with the whole Ukraine thing, the reason why they started giving money to Ukraine was to like honestly bleed out Russia because they're struggling like to deal with Ukraine. So it's one of those things where we're funding them because Russia got what's the things that they did to them to like kind of cripple their economy, where we passed some of that legislation, and then also like they're spending a lot of money on we put the tariffs and all stuff like that. So Russia's getting crippled right now, where it's giving us more of a foothold. So the money that we're spending is kind of like a investment to give us more capacity over there.
Yeah, but what I think Will is trying to target here is the fact of the matter is like things like, you know, like the whole entire Maui fire is that we're over here sending billions of dollars out to our allies, yet our house is still dirty. So we're willing to clean other people's house, but we're not willing to clean our own house. I think that's what Will is trying to say.
No, I totally agree with that, except for Russia. I think some certain people you gotta get at work, so you gotta spend that money. So that's why I was like, I agree with Russia, but for the most part, I agree with you guys. We do need to stop giving out so much foreign aid and scale that back.
And with going to Rose's point, a lot of the military contractors that was hired for the foreign aid when it came to Ukraine and when it came to Israel, majority of them were U.S. military companies. So the very money that we aided is going right back into the military industrial complex of the people, the military companies that's from the U.S. It just seems like it's a handout that the government is just doing for their buddies that the multi-billionaires of those big companies that's part of the military.
Well, the reason you don't send actual troops over there because you turn a cold war into a warm war, into a hot war. That's why you do that. You can have contractors, you can support contractors, and they can go out there and they can do things because they aren't directly affiliated with your government. You have contractors because if they had people who like service men and women go out there, then we're at war.
Yeah. But Damien,
plus there's limitations on soldiers. So, but contractors is you can bypass a couple things.
But Damien, wouldn't you be skeptical, Damien? Like over 100 billion?
Pays for everything. We're paying for the whole government in Ukraine. You guys are paying.
Yeah, like 100 billion, Damien. Don't you think that's too excessive?
Business owners don't.
I'm saying whatever it needs to keep our interests safe, to maintain our U.S. interests, and and there's a movie I want you to watch, Will, and it's a super dope movie. It's a movie called Charlie Wilson's War.
Than anything else.
Charlie Wilson was a congressman who spearheaded the appropriations committee to get funding for the Taliban, in Afghanistan to fight the Russians, the Russian occupation. And because he was so successful and gave them so much money, it brought down communism in the United States. It bankrupted the Communist Party in the Soviet Union. I'm sorry. So that's what we're just like how Jerk just said. That's exactly the premise of what's happening now. Is that they fight long enough, they run out of munitions, they lose tanks, they lose helicopters, then they are in a situation where and this might be going to Rose's point. This is a money grab, is that they've got themselves in such a financial hole that we can negotiate better deals as a country with them. The price of oil suddenly goes down because they need that money. The price of other exports go down because they need that money. So yeah, it's to our benefit to make sure that Russia spends as much of their resources as possible on this Ukrainian war, because in the long run, it's the long game. It's an investment in the United States' economic future, and that's the part that they don't put on the news. But Watch Charlie Wilson's War, and you'll see exactly what happened in Afghanistan is happening in the Ukraine.
Yeah, they're gonna be buying U.S. planes, goods.
Yeah. I just want to pass it to Anna.
We buy
How you doing, Anna?
military equipment. They don't buy ours.
How you doing? How you doing, Anna?
It's in the
Good,
US.
thank you. I see you jumped on as a guest.
We're the best in China.
But let me pass it to you. I don't know, Anna. I know you're on mute right now, so I don't know if you can hear me.
And can you hear us?
Anna, can you hear us? Anna Patero? I don't think you can hear us.
Yeah, you might want to drop. Anna. Yeah.
Can you unmute?
Yeah, I think you're on. I don't know if you can hear us.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
No, we can't hear you.
Yeah. I think you're on mute, Anna. I don't think you can hear us, Anna. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Hit Control D or Command D.
Maybe she's on her phone, I think.
Hit the
What
X
is that?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh.
I think she's trying to figure it out. But I just had to ask one last question before we conclude. We end the pod. I know Trump. I think Damon, you mentioned that Trump is morally corrupt. I know you. A lot of people. I know he just got convicted. But there are a lot of people saying that whole trial was the judge was corrupt. The whole trial was rigged towards him. And I know a lot of people are saying that he's a convicted felon. That should be the reason why a lot of voters should not vote against him. But I think Rose also brought up the point as well. And there's a lot of corruption with Biden, and also with his son, Hunter Biden, with the whole the laptop thing. I think there was something I saw online about there's evidence that there's certain companies out of Ukraine that have been sending money towards Biden, and also with Hunter Biden. I mean, we talk about corruption. You talk about morally corrupt. I mean, they're both morally corrupt. We just have to pick the one that's less corrupt than the other. But I do hear a lot of people trying to defend that. Democrats are saying that we have a convicted felon. Let's not vote against him. But at the same time, there's a lot of corruption going on with Biden and Hunter Biden. I just want to hear from Rose real quick, then I'll pass it back, and then we'll conclude. Rose, what's your thoughts on that? Rose, with the corruption thing.
That's what you said. I mean, every politician is corrupt. You just have to pick the least corrupt person. So obviously, the least corrupt person is Trump over Biden. That's obvious, especially if you just look at just the whole family. And if you just look at the party, the most corrupt party is the Democratic Party over the Republican Party. They're more corrupt. That's all.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Rose. And then just to pass it back to, Damien, you're a Democrat jerk. Come on. We'll just anybody respond.
Jerk.
Let me jump in real quick. Yeah, that's the thing that kind of bothers me, is because at the end of the day, there's facts. You can look at the court documents and you can see like what people are charged for. So like I said, I'm unbiased, man. I just look at everything and I take it for it as it is. So Donald Trump has some issues, and Joe Biden's son, Hunter, got some issues. So that's why I was asking that question earlier. Like, we're complaining about the political opponents and stuff, but it's like we're the ones electing them. So to me, like, if somebody came right now was like, Joe Biden, he was charged for this, I'm going to just believe it. And I'm not going to sit there and just because I voted for a side, I'm going to be like in tune with that person. I'm not going to be like, oh, that's the courts are biased and stuff. I'm like, damn, he did that. We need to get him out of there, get somebody else in there. So I just don't understand why. Or on either side, man, nobody's looking at this stuff. Like, if Joe Biden had those issues with his son, he might not be as guilty as that, but he still got them issues. And I think he should have been eliminated also. I think both of them, if they have like troubles like that, they both should have kind of been not selected for that office at that time, just based on the baggage that they have. Because everybody don't have like their kids operating like that and stuff. So I think we could have selected 2 new candidates, honestly.
I agree. I agree. I don't think Joe Biden is the best of the best. I wouldn't be my first choice. I already know who I would pick. I would vote for all day if he would ran for president. But all I'm saying is 2 things. Hunter Biden ain't running for president. That's the kid. That's the man running for president's son. So whatever he do, That's his son doing it. That ain't him doing it. And you talking about the Burisma stuff where they gave Hunter Biden a job where he got paid all this money, $3 million over a certain period of year. Joe Biden was a private citizen. He wasn't even in public office. He wasn't in vice president. He was anything. He gave him the job because, yes, his dad had a cool name. I'm sure Trump's kids have gotten. His daughter Tiffany probably got into the college she went to because her last name was Trump. Nepotism is real. Rich people do it all the time. They trade off of their name in order to get things done. There's no evidence that linking anything directly to Joe Biden. And if there was, indict his ass. Absolutely, indict him. I want everybody who's committing crime, indict him. If you have evidence to indict him, or shut the fuck up. If you don't have any evidence, wait till you have evidence, and then indict him. They didn't indict Donald Trump until they had an evidence, and 4 different jurisdictions indicted him. 88 counts of in these 4 indictments. So all I'm saying, and hold up. Let me just read. You said get your facts together. Let me get his facts together. Okay. One fact is that Donald Trump's campaign manager, felon. Donald Trump's campaign vice president, Paul Manafort, felon. John Ford, vice president of his campaign, Steve Bannon, felon. His CFO, Weissenberg, felon. His lawyer, Michael Cohen, felon. I mean, if you got all these felons around you, is it safe to say that you might be shady? Can you at least concede that? If 11 of the people who are in close contact with you are now convicted felons, is it a stretch you think you might have committed some crime too if they were in close quarters with you? That's all I'm saying. Biden's son is a felon. Got convicted. What? Biden, if he had all this power to rig elections, rig vote, why wouldn't he be like, hey, I'm gonna hook my son up. I'm gonna do all using the power I got to rig trials to get my son off. Why would that just doesn't make sense. All I'm saying is I don't know anybody who hung with drug dealers who didn't do drugs. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And I did read that Joe Biden did say he ain't gonna try to pardon his son or anything.
He ain't gonna do
he's
shit.
Like, you gotta face it. Yeah. So I give him credit for that.
He ain't gonna do nothing.
Well, I think he's doing it. I think he's only doing that now because he knows that his chances of winning the presidency is not he's trying to get as much vote. I think if he had a good if he was up in the polls and he was looking good with the polls to be voted in, I think he would do it. But I think right now, as far as the polls, based on what you see, that he's down right now. Like he needs.
Nah, he's not. He's actually leading them because that conviction. He's leading Trump. You look at Fox is in the poll.
Well, he was down from where he was at, but yeah, he still is leading Trump.
The Fox poll, he's up by 2 points on Trump. Vox.
Oh, okay. All right.
Anna's been trying to get in there. I'm so sorry, Anna.
Yeah. Let me just read some super chats real quick. Zyrex, thank you so much for the super chat. And then Marcus Antonio Castillo. I don't know how in liberals, in logical minds, do Democrats think Biden is a good president when he was clearly a targeting smear campaign against Trump 24. Okay. Thank you so much. Anna, good to have you join as a public guest. Thank you for jumping on. I know you're into politics. That's actually what you do as far as your profession. So we're just having a discussion about the future of America.
How you doing, Anna?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you now.
So we're just discussing Trump versus Biden. We understand that those are 2 leading candidates. Whether you support them or not, that's probably the likelihood of either one of them right now is going to get elected. So we're having a discussion. What's best for America for the next 4 years? If you have to choose Trump, Biden, what do you think, Anna?
I choose democracy, and therefore I choose Biden. Donald Trump has revealed to us, who was it? Maya Angelou says, if somebody tells you who they are the first time, believe them. Donald Trump has told us who he is ever since he took out an ad on the Central Park 5. The man has been a racist since the 1960s. He grew up in a family that's racist, and for him to have blatantly look somebody in the face and say, tell them that I'm the least racist person that you have ever met, somebody who has to tell you that is racist. Because if you're not racist, you don't have to say it, right? Your actions will speak for itself. And if you look at their ages, sure, Biden is 81 years old. He has the most experience. He knows how to take on a bully because he grew up with a stutter. right? He's been in public office since he was 29 years old. His 2 children died in a car accident. He lost his first wife. He has been fighting for the people. I think it's rather cynical to say that, oh, if it was up in the polls that he would pardon his son. He's just saying that because he is a principled man, right? He came out for LGBTQIA rights when Barack Obama wouldn't. Right, he's the one who first came out and said that on Meet the Press. He came out for women's rights and equal pay, all of that. So if you look at the two of them, look beyond the 2 men. As Damien said, look at who they surround themselves. If it looks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's a freaking duck, right? Look at who President Biden has surrounded himself with. We have the best economy. Let's not forget where we were 4 years ago, right? He got our economy back to normal as soon as possible, as normal as can be. Prices are not going to go down, right? For the first time in our lives, people decided that we found out what their worth was. You don't call us essential workers and then dump on us and say, oh, now you're lazy. No. You don't dump on essential workers and then turn around and say, we need you, we need you, we need you, right? So that's what President Biden has done. He's surrounded himself with people, the smartest. He really has surrounded himself with the smartest people. He's worked in a bipartisan way. He's done that his entire political career. What are we questioning, right? The economy is better. Right, he's forgiven all these student loans. They're the least amount of immigration of crossing the border ever since he passed his executive order. All of those things. Look at the people he's surrounded himself, and then question: one person surrounded by felons, the other person has boosted our economy in the last 4 years. I vote for Biden. I vote for democracy. We're all immigrants. We know what it's like. People know what it's like. We don't want to go back. 1776, none of us would exist. African Americans would be fractions of the people. Women would not even have rights. That's where they want to take us back, right? We built this country. The exceptionalism of the United States, it's heterogeneity, and that's every single fucking one of us. And we have to fight for this democracy because who else will?
All right, no worries. All right. Yeah, thank you so much, Anna. You came in strong, Anna. You came in strong.
I believe in this country, it's given so much to me.
Same here.
Can I push back on one thing you said, Anna?
Certainly.
I know, Rose. I know you brought up this point, right? So I've heard from you guys. You said the economy is doing better. Is it really? I mean, look. This is just my observation. My grocery bill right now is 50% higher compared when I was under Trump. The gas prices was a lot higher compared to Trump. So basically, I mean, I when I hear a lot of people saying the economy is a lot better, but if you just go out to the real world, we all buy groceries. Let's be honest, our grocery bill is a lot higher compared to 4 years ago. And then gas, I think at one point was almost $6. I know in California it was almost like $6 a gallon at one point. Now it's dropped down to almost $5, but it wasn't at almost $6 compared to 4 years ago. So I mean, maybe for the rich people, it doesn't really make a difference, but for the common people, the poverty class, the growth. I mean, I do see videos online of people there was a video online of a single mother complaining about how she can't even buy groceries anymore because it's gone up 50%. Her grocery bill used to be $150, now she has to pay $300 for groceries, and including with the gas bill, with all the bills that she has to pay. So, I mean, is the economy really doing better? I have to disagree. I don't think the economy is doing better compared to 4 years ago.
And I'll tell you why it is. Wages are much higher, right? When President Trump was president, we were in COVID, right? There was a shutdown. So we weren't using all those resources. Of course, gas was lower because people weren't driving anywhere, right? Of course, the supply was lower. What happened was because we weren't buying anything, nobody was out there working, there weren't enough of a supply. And so when people started going to work, there wasn't enough of a supply. What happened then was that these companies got greedy. They're like, oh, these people coming back to work, what can we do? We'll jack up the prices. That's not the government. That is the challenge between having to work with private enterprise and government. Government has to regulate. What is that? The book by Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, tell you exactly that, right? You have to regulate big business so that and have competition so they do not drive up the prices, right? So that's exactly what happens. So you're absolutely right. Prices are high. Everything is high. Wages are also higher. The stock market is at its all-time high, right? And so people may not feel it because things are getting high, but it's not going to go back. If you want to go back to prices in 2020, Do you want your wages to go back to 2020? Hell, shit, no, you don't. Right?
Yeah, I mean, my bill is still the same.
but hold up. You said, oh, Anna, you're just amazing. It's just like you said everything I was gonna say, because I was just
David
like,
Love.
it's just one of those things where like your groceries were cheaper 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago. They're always, your groceries are gonna be more expensive 4 years from now. That's the way the capitalism works. That's the way inflation works, and inflation is great for a society.
But let me.
that's the way it works.
So we're just gonna.
Will, can I ask you a question?
So we,
Oh,
are
go
we
ahead.
just gonna agree? So we just gonna. So we just assume. I'm sorry. So we just have to accept the fact that our bills and is gonna go up every single year. Every single president is gonna come after this, or are we gonna have to pick a president that's really gonna do something to stop that from increasing every single presidency?
They can't.
That's capitalism, baby.
They can't. Welcome to America. They can't stop it.
So no, there's nothing a president can do to stop that.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Because
I think they can.
Anna said the key thing. Most people don't want to regulate the companies, and that's the biggest issue. So if somebody came out and say, hey, I'm going to regulate companies, they would be wiped out politically, so that's the reality, Will. But I wanted to ask Will a question. So did you think the economy was good under Obama?
Under Obama?
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad. I don't think it was good, but it wasn't bad.
Do you know it was better than Donald Trump's economy? So that's what I'm saying. A lot of times when a lot of people are just biased because under Obama the economy and prices were definitely lower than it was because the escalation and stuff like that. So that's why I was just asking.
Yeah. I mean, I can't. Obama was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, Obama was 8 years ago.
Yeah, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was almost 8.
Yeah. I don't think I had a problem with Obama. I think it was good. I mean, Trump. I don't think there was a problem with under Trump. It's just now, where I see. I literally. I mean, it's not like I'm financially struggling, but I do see the difference with the prices of the things I'm buying compared to not only under Trump but even Obama. I didn't notice it until this year, till recently. Oh wow, like this, my milk used to be like $2-3, but now it's like $5-6.
But you're making more money. You're making more bread too.
Now there definitely is an issue with the inflation. So that's why I'm saying I'm curious. I'm surprised that either one ain't laying out a plan how they gonna address it. That's where we got to get better.
Biden has. I even read you where the
okay, that's where
Moody's,
he's okay.
Yeah, he said the economic plan. He said Trump's plan would add 1% to it. Biden's plan is better for overall inflation, GDP, and what was the other?
And you said this was Moody's.
This was Moody's. His name is
Moody's is solid.
Zandy. Mark Zandy, lead economics at Moody Analytics.
Yeah, I read a lot of Moody's. So
job creation, we would trigger a recession. Trump's plan would cut 3.2 million jobs, 1% inflation, and reduce middle class family incomes. Biden's policies were better for the economy. They would lead to more growth and less inflation.
Let me just read this super chat real quick. Marcus Antonio Castillo just dropped. I don't know how Biden and Kamala Harris aren't in prison. Shaking my head.
You don't know how the law works, Marcus. He's got to be guilty of something.
And then Marcus Antonio Castillo asked the Biden bot plant how much they paid them. I don't know. I don't.
I think he's talking about me.
Oh, it's talking about you. Oh, you're the plant.
Me or Anna. One of us is a Biden ball plant.
I paid you guys to jump onto that show.
Yeah, like I said, I just want what's best for the country.
Hey, Will,
because I live here.
Yeah, go ahead, Rose. I know you want to respond. Go ahead, Rose.
So as far as inflation goes, do you guys even know what inflation is? Because it's when you print money out of thin air and you just give it away for free. That's what inflation is. And so everything that's of value, it goes down. And we've had the worst inflation in the history of our nation. Everything doubled in 2 years. That doesn't happen with normal inflation. Just doesn't happen. I mean, for God's sake, the 99-cent store is going out of business. That says something. You guys see all these chains that are going down? It's happening because inflation, you don't really feel the effects until 5, 10, 20 years down the road because it's a disease that you cannot get rid of. And it's not good at the rate that it's going at now.
Yeah.
Who's paying for this? Employees, not business owners, because business owners don't pay taxes because they know how not to pay taxes. Employees, the middle class, are the ones that pay the most taxes. The lower class doesn't, because everything they get is free. It's called welfare. And I just wanted to point something out, Anna, that Anna was saying. I wanted to ask you if you think, will you believe that Trump is racist? How can a guy that's racist have kids with a wife that's a foreigner?
She's white. Her race is white. She's Caucasian.
Is she Russian? Is it?
She's actually from what is she from? Like,
She's from Slovenia.
Slovenia,
Yeah.
Slovakia, or Slovenia?
I mean, is Trump racist? I mean, is Trump racist? I don't think he's racist.
nation.
I think he's a bigot. I don't know if he's specifically racist because I think he likes rich black people too.
No, he doesn't like rich black people. He uses rich black people.
That's true. He sees them as a tool. A useful
Can
tool.
I address something Rose said? Because she kind of undercut her own argument when she was talking about inflation. So even in the statement you was making about the inflation, you said like inflation typically dates back like 20 something years. So if that's true, then even Donald Trump or Biden would have no impact on that if it's like a 20-year cycle. So I just wanted to, you said that.
Really feel the effects until 5, 10, 20 years down the road, because it's gradual increase.
Exactly.
We didn't feel it the first year, the second year, but it's the fourth year and we're starting to really feel it. The APR rates to buy a house, it's insane. No one can afford to buy a house. Why do you think so many complexes are going up, condos and apartments? Because no one can afford a house. We're in the age where no one can afford shit right now, and people are not happy because they are struggling financially. What it all comes down to is money, because money is how you survive. And if
and I agree with that, but that dates back to Bush, where, you know, when the economy started collapsing, they pumped money out there to keep everything supported. Then Obama carried it on. Then even during coronavirus, Donald Trump, you know, put money out there for the coronavirus, the supplements, and Joe Biden carried it on. So that's what I'm saying. All of them kind of had a hand in the inflation. So you can't really pinpoint it on like just Joe Biden or somebody else. Because like you even said yourself, it's a cycle.
Because of everyone not working, so we can print money because of the lockdowns that was forced upon us. And everyone's just sitting back thinking that, oh, we get free money. Nothing is free. Everything has to be paid for. These taxes will go on to your kids and your grandchildren. And the wealthy don't care. They're not affected by it. But if anyone understands money, it's going to be rich people, because they look at the market. Poor people don't understand or look at the market, or even middle class. They don't understand how to spend money. That's why they're at that level. So they're not going to see it as much. Rich people, they're going to look at the stock market and see how it goes up and up and down and down. I mean, during COVID, if you try to buy stocks in any of the vaccine companies, you couldn't. You were locked out because they knew it was going to jump. So it was like everything was rigged. If you go into casinos, who wins? The house wins. Why? Because it's their rules. It's their house. Poor people are the ones that gamble the most, and they're the ones that lose. And these big casinos are in business because of that reason. And it's just like, it's just so obvious. I just don't understand why you guys can't see that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I understand it, but it's like I said, it's a cycle, and it dates back across all of them, and they all have a part to play. So even with all the tax cuts at the wrong time, you know, added on to the deficit. So that's what I'm saying. So it's hard to just be so biased with both sides. That's why I was like, you literally need to look at the plan that each person puts out versus like just choosing a side.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, the greatest
in your own community. I mean, you guys are literally support of that. More government, more taxes, more free stuff, which you have to pay for that you can't afford. And so everyone's left miserable.
But see, like, just real quick,
go ahead, buddy.
You know, the government is the largest purchaser of goods and services. So when y'all say like you want lower government, you know how many companies are gonna get wiped out because the government ain't gonna be pumping that money out there. So that's what I'm saying. Y'all don't understand like how this cycle works.
Businesses is what I'm saying. If
what's that?
Private businesses and less government, that's better for everybody. Because
not necessarily.
If you go to the USPS, You see how shitty that service is? Now imagine if that was a private service like FedEx. Obviously, there's no private service for the DMV, but if there was, everyone would go to them that could afford it, and they'd pay more for that better service.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. So yeah, we've come to the end, but yeah, the last thing that was brought up, and Rose, do you think Trump is racist?
No, not at all. No.
Okay, all right. And then Prime, do you think Trump is racist? Prime?
Sorry, what was the question?
Now, do you think Trump is racist?
I don't think he's necessarily a racist. I think every political figure out there has some sort of notion of prejudice behind them. I mean, I grew up in Hawaii, so like I didn't really see a lot of racism. A lot of people that go to Hawaii experience racism, especially white people, and I think that's a very city thing. But me personally, I don't think he's racist. I think he does have prejudice. I don't think he has racism inside of him.
Okay, all right, fair enough. All right, but yeah, we've come to the end. Everybody who's been watching the live stream, thank you so much. Interesting first political debate. Thank you so much. We had a great conversation. Shout out to everybody on the panel, Jurek, Damien, Anna, Prime, and Rose. I do agree, Jurek. I think that when we do host the next one, we'll just have like specific subtopics and we'll just focus on that. I think that'd be a great debate to have. But I appreciate you guys being part of the panel. And Vaimwana, I think Vaimwana was on here before. Thank you so much for jumping on. Appreciate everybody. So a lot of you guys watched the entire stream. I saw a lot of new faces, a golf twiddler. There's a lot of new faces I saw here tonight on this panel, on the live chat. So thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you guys. And I do appreciate the super chat and the donations. But I think I like having discussion on political debates. I know Damon is really, really into that. Damien went hard tonight, so you came in locked and ready and prepared. But I think it's something that it's a good discussion to have, especially the future of our country. It's something I do care about. I am concerned about a lot of the things that's happening with the country, and I love being. And if you watch my channel, I'm pro-American. I think this is the greatest country to ever live. So to ever be, and I really love the things that we do here because I've seen the other parts of the world. So I know there's a difference about the opportunities and liberties that we sometimes take for granted. Compared to the real world. But to pass it back to you guys, what's your final thoughts? And then I'll just read one more from Marcus. Marcus, thank you so much again for the super chat. The libs weak basis argument, hashtag race baiting, hashtag racism. Okay. All right. No worries, Marcus. But thank you so much to the panel. What's your final thoughts on tonight's conversation? And how can they find you? All right. So I'll start with you, Rose. Rose, as always, I do appreciate your passion for the topics we discussed. Thank you for jumping on again and be part of the panel. What's your final thoughts for tonight's conversation? How can they find you, Rose?
You can find me Swami Mommy Music. That's my artist page if you want to follow. I really don't care if people follow me because I'm not those kind of people that want followers. I just want to lead and I want to attract leaders, not followers. As far as the conversation goes, honestly, it was really hard for me to have this conversation with you guys because you guys are definitely not at my level when it comes to intellect and IQ. Just gonna put that obvious.
Wow.
People in the audience can easily see that. Anyone who watches this with intellect can obviously see it. It's like I'm talking to people who are maskers back in the COVID times, and we all know how that went. So that's just all I have to say, because anytime I try to say anything smart, you guys were just intimidated and didn't even respond or even acknowledge that I said anything, because that's how guys are. They're intimidated by intelligent women who are successful. So yeah, I just had to say that because it really honestly wasn't, man, I just wish there were smart people in here that I could talk to. I'm sorry, but I just have to say this because this is just not like, I just don't talk to people like this at this level. It's just like, it just values my, it's like I lost brain cells in this conversation, but I wanted to be on here to support Will, and at least Prime was on here who has some kind of IQ, so that kind of helped me out a little bit with this conversation, not going crazy. So, anyways, not to like jab on you guys, but you guys really just don't know a lot of stuff about world economics and like what goes on in the world and anything to do with much. You guys listen to mainstream media, and that's where you get your information from, which is pretty bad because it's all lies. what you guys say, if people are listening, then it sucks because you guys are not good examples of what leaders are. And it's like, if people are listening to you, they're going to be like, oh yeah, we should do that. And then they're going to be in a fucked up situation that they're in, because voting for Biden, that's the stupidest thing you could do, because look at what's going on right now. And if you do that again, then we're definitely going to head into World War III. There's going to be a draft. You guys are going to get drafted, and everyone is going to be.
We too old. Sorry. I'm
right.
not drafting 50-year-olds.
You never know. You never know.
I'm 50. And they're going to draft me.
You have kids that are over 18.
Okay. All right, Rose. As always, I do appreciate your intelligence that you always come and bring onto the panel. Thank you so much. I'll pass it to the fellas. Oh, I'll start with Anna. Anna, and then I'll come to the fellas. Anna, thank you for jumping on as a guest. I do appreciate you, but what's your final thoughts and how can they find you, Anna?
Well, I just am on Facebook and Anna Pitero. I'm also on the Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District Governing Board, and so all my comments are mine individually. I'm also a professor at Solano Community College. I just want to thank you all for the invitation to participate in this very robust conversation. I think it's important to learn about where everybody else stands, because that's what makes America great. I think what democracy is that everybody is entitled to an opinion, right? Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. And so I think that's what makes America great. We all, if we were in any other country, wouldn't be able to have this kind of discussion. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thank you for letting me participate in this.
No worries. Thank you so much, Anna. I'll definitely reach out to you for the next one and when we do host another one. So I'll definitely add you to the panel.
I like this.
All right. Thank you so much, Anna. Pass it to the fellas. I'll start with you, Damien. I know you.
Okay. I don't know. My unintelligent self, I'm trying to formulate words to like say stuff, whatever. I'm just going to do it. Like, I just want to lead with this, just Biden and Trump by the numbers. Just all facts, no feeling. Jobs added under Trump, negative 2.6 million. Under Biden, positive 16.27 million. Manufacturing jobs added, Trump negative 192,000. Biden plus 748,000. COVID deaths in most recent week. That means the last week of Trump's presidency and the most recent week of Biden's. Trump 24,690. Biden 132. Times impeached, Trump twice, Biden 0. Felony convictions 34 for Trump, Biden 0. Felony charges pending 54 for Trump, 0 for Biden. Times liable for fraud, 1 for the amount of almost $483 million that he needs to pay the state of New York. Times liable for defamation, 2, E. Jean Carroll, where he has to pay her $83 million. Times liable for rape, 1. All I'm concerned, if you can hear all this stuff and think this is a quality person who has the fortitude, intelligence, and experience, if he's accountable, resilient, and disciplined enough to be your president, go ahead. But all I'm saying is, if you can still hear all these things and the other stats that are proven facts, not feelings, and still vote for Trump, I just got to go with my original statement. Either you're willfully ignorant or morally corrupt.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Damien. All right. Pass it to you, Jerk. Final thoughts, Jerk. And how can they find you?
First of all, man, great conversation. You know, I like hearing people's different perspectives. And like I said, I'm pretty unbiased. Like I said, it boils down to like the plan for me is like infrastructure, cutting down the budget in a responsible way. But I would just like to say this. It's always the person on the short bus that thinks they're the smartest. That's it, Will.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jerk. And then I'll pass it to Prime. Final thoughts and how can they find you, Prime?
Whoever's president, I really don't care. I've stacked my egg and I'm sitting on the egg nest, so I really don't care. I don't have to care for the rest of my life. So, and I can't vote because I'm a convict. So, me personally, if I was to vote for somebody, I would, like I've said this whole entire time, it would be either Vivek or Tulsi. Other than that, if you guys need to find me, just reach out to Will. You guys can find me that way.
All right. Thank you so much, Prime. And then Marcus, last one, super chat. He sent donation. Also funny, living rent free in Dame's head. Hashtag do better. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Marcus. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching the entire stream. Thank you for jumping on to the panel, making the time. And one of you watching, thank you so much for joining us in the beginning. But we host this. Usually we have a Wednesday hot topic, but I think politically we're probably going to host some of these shows. We have political debates, and if you like the content, if you like the content, smash that like, subscribe button real quick so we can go live next time. You can jump on, and don't forget, if you're watching this right now, it's a virtual show. It's public, so if you want to jump on and be part of this panel, have these type of discussions, especially politically, the link is in the description of YouTube. You click on that link and you'll be able to jump on. We're always open to hear perspectives. I know we all have strong opinions, but I think it's important, especially in this country, to have discussions, even if we agree or disagree. That's what makes America great. But thank you so much.
Tomorrow, right? The actual debate. The actual debate's tomorrow, right?
Yeah, 9 p.m.
tomorrow.
Eastern on CNN.
Yeah,
All right.
CNN.
Yeah,
So
tune in for that, everybody.
Yeah, definitely tune in tomorrow for that debate, and maybe the next one we can kind of react to that debate.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I'm down.
Yeah, we'll definitely make that happen. But thank you so much, everybody. You guys have a great night. See you guys next time. Anna, Rose, thank you so much for jumping on. Peace, y'all.